as the Battle of the Beltways continues. The Orioles and the Nationals getting together for the second game in this three-game weekend series. And we welcome you to a beautiful day at Camden Yards and a celebration of the 1970 team. And hi, everybody. I'm Jim Hunter. The Orioles getting it done last night. And, of course, baseball is a game of opportunity. And Scott Moore is beginning to make the most of his chance with the Orioles. Last night, he came off the bench and he got it going as the Orioles had to come back first from a 6-run deficit and then a 3-run late deficit. 8th inning man on, Moore off the bench, a 2-run home run to pull the Orioles within a run. And then in the ninth, this base hit got the Orioles going. And after that, the hard slide at second base, that alerted Christian Guzman, maybe forced him out of the way, and the error off it went, and the Orioles scored the winning run. And Jim Palmer, when you look about that, how a player takes advantage of his opportunity, that's what you like to see. Hey, go out there and do it.
Well, you know, his hitting instructor, Terry Crowley, great pinch hitter, he said, listen, I'm 0 for 15 with 10 strikeouts. Maybe we better work on our preparation. He's now 2 for his last 3, hits the home run, gets a single. But to me, the key play forced them to really hurry on the double play, and the Orioles were able to win.
And, of course, it was a game of defense, both good and bad. For more on that, let's welcome in Rob Carpenter and Rob Dibble.
All right, Jim, and of course the Nationals have been a mixed defensive bag all year long, Rob. We saw the best of it with Morgan and the worst of it on the infield. This infield has a lot of errors this year.
Yes, they do, especially up the middle. That seems to be one of our weak points. But Nigel Morgan was neither weak nor bad last night. He made some great plays, saved us a lot of runs in the outfield, but then we gave him right back in the infield. 4 miscues last night, and the Orioles took the most of their opportunities, and that's how they got back in the ball game. You keep dropping the ball, not picking it up, and that's the last double play that they didn't cover. But the bottom line is we got to play better defense. It starts up the middle. You got to have a good catcher. We got a Hall of Fame catcher behind there. You got to be good up the middle, and we got a good center fielder. So shortstop, second base seems to be our weakness right now.
Nationals ERA is coming down. It's really at one of its lowest points of the season. But Jim Hunter, when announcers are standing around before the game even talking about defense, not a good sign.
That's a very good point. And the one thing about the Orioles with the 4 unearned runs, you don't go into games looking for that. But what you have to do, take advantage of those opportunities.
You really do. And, you know, the Orioles, again, have come back from the deficits, 3 runs the other night, 6 runs last night. And for a change, and we haven't seen this very much, somebody actually handed them a game, and it doesn't happen very often.
And, you know, Bob Carpenter, the ironic thing about this is the Nationals came in here feeling pretty good about things and looking for a surge. They get a 6-0 lead. They're looking like, hey, this is going to be ours.
Yeah, the Nationals coming off a 3-game series against Kansas City. They only scored 6 runs, fortunate to win 2 of those games.
Yeah, when you score 6 runs and you got a 6-0 lead, you should win that ball game. You just got to play from that point on and play the game. You know, when you're up 5 runs, you can't throw the ball away. Ian Desmond did that last night. So it's being a little bit smarter and more common sense in the baseball world.
It's a day of history here at Oriole Park. The 1970 Orioles and the Washington Senators, so to speak, doing battle at Camden Yards today.
it's on. And by Honda. Look for money-saving leases and low financing at your Honda dealer. Well, it is a lovely day for baseball here at Camden Yards on the day of the celebration of the 1970 World Championship Orioles, the 40th anniversary of that. And time now for the train game time temperature. Visit trainsearch.com to locate an independent train dealer near you. It's hard to stop a train. 86 beautiful degrees on a sunny Saturday afternoon at Camden Yards. And the Southwest Airlines starting lineups for the Nationals. Niger Morgan will lead off. Big game last night, 4 out of 5, including a stolen base and 3 runs. Guzman, Zimmerman, and Dunn, Willingham, Rodriguez, and Bernardina, Adam Kennedy, and Ian Desmond.
And this afternoon, Scouting Report brought to you by PNC for the achiever in all of us. Well, for Brad Bergeson, well, you got to sink it or he'll probably go showering early. And, of course, that's his number one pitch, change up and slider to go with it. He's got to relax because he's an eager beaver out there. He looks like a little bit like Mark Fidrich. And, again, left out because lefties, they have some amazing numbers. So he's going to have to be better against the left-handers in the lineup tonight or this afternoon.
So Bergeson is back with the team, and to get him on the roster, Lou Montañez was placed on the DL, and the first pitch of the game is low and 1-0. How about Niger Morgan, Rob, his night last night?
Outstanding. I mean, you get on first 4 times, you score 4 runs, you steal runs away from the opposition, a home run there, and then right off the bat, he swings at the first pitch, and he's out.
And a bouncer to first, Scott Moore, who is playing at first base today. And you see the replica uniforms. These are the uniforms of the 1970 Washington Senators and the 1970 World Champion Orioles. And the cartoon bird hat. How about that?
Yep. Well, that's Tom Davis's favorite hat. I kind of like it.
And the Senators were in the American League at the time.
That they were. They would leave what? They'd go to Texas in 72, I believe.
You would have to face big Frank Howard back then.
Yeah, we talked about that loss last night. No, he could hit.
Christian Guzman is DHing today. Takes strike 1. And down and in, 1-1 the count. Brad Bergeson, he began the year in the Orioles rotation and went 0-2 in his first 3 starts with an ERA over 12, and he was optioned to AAA. And he gets a strike to Guzman. Wasn't there very long. In fact, came back on May the 1st. Immediately won 3 consecutive starts, but then ended up in the bullpen, was sent back on June 14th. And here he is back today for this start. There's a bouncer towards the middle. Ranging over to Torres, throws on the run. He got him. Wow. Torres from the second base side able to glove it and get it over for the out and 2 men down.
Well, you're shading up the middle anyway, so again, he's going towards the outfield and then just flips back. So again, Guzman hitting left-handed out of the thing. As you look at the defense, Patterson, Jones, Markakis, good outfield, very fleet for the Orioles. Tejada, you've already seen his Torres at shortstop. Lugo at second base. Scott Moore, who can play everywhere, is at first. And Matt Wieters once again behind the plate.
And today's defense brought to you by Cisco Federal, a proud mission partner to the United States Department of Defense. And a good side for Brad Bergeson, Jim, is 2 pitches put in play, 2 ground balls.
Well, he knows that his best pitch is a sinker, and for him, of course, the mystery sometimes is how do I make it sink? How do I make those quality pitches? In his last start against Washington, he was presented with a league, but he gave up a number of home runs, 1 to Josh Willingham, and all of a sudden that 4-run lead evaporated.
Well, I think you'd agree he has to stay on top. That last pitch was a fastball, but he dropped down. It flattens out.
And that might have something to do with it. He was hit with a line drive in the left knee or shin on July 30th last year. Didn't pitch. Hurt his arm doing a commercial for the Orioles. Really was behind everybody in spring training. And I don't know what kind of arm strength. It should be getting better now. There's some late life in a fastball count.
Bergeson making his 13th appearance for the Orioles, his 11th start, and a dangerous Ryan Zimmerman at the plate with his 13 home runs and 28 extra base hits.
Well, the Nationals were Senators today. Got to get Zimmerman going.
The 2-2 and just inside, ball 3.
I had much better run on that one.
Unfortunately, Wieters was, about 1.5 feet the other side of the plate. So, part of Brad, because he's going to throw from, 89 to 91, is he really has to hit his spots.
And the payoff pitch foul back.
He's had a good slider. On occasion, it'll get very flat because he drops his arm, but you made a great point. And for him, he's got kind of an unusual windup because he'll sometimes get the elbow will get too high, and then all of a sudden he can't stay behind his pitches, and that's when they really flatten out. And that slider that can be very effective becomes much more hittable.
His 3 wins, he beat the Red Sox here, won in Minnesota, and then back home here he beat Seattle. The 3-2 pitch, high pop-up foul, slicing towards the grandstand, down the line. Moore gives chase, runs out of room.
Luke Powell have that kind of speed?
Much more agile than you would think. Maybe not. He wasn't going to win a lot of foot races, but Boog, when I came up, Boog played left field. People forget that. Norm Seaburn actually was the first baseman. They're trying to get more offense. Boog hit 33 home runs when he was a left fielder.
You had it pretty well covered, though. Davey Johnson, Grich, Belanger.
Well, that's why we won some world championships. And
that's how you win 108 games. Another 3-2 pitch to Zimmerman is fouled back. Well, at the luncheon today, Boog told the story that he had a chart in his locker of all of the saves of the infielders' throws that he saved them errors. And he said, Brooks, you know those 16 gold gloves? How you doing, buddy?
Well, yeah, I mean, just look at the Yankees, with Teixeira. How many errors does he save? All your good first basemen do that.
He almost
was one of them. Eddie Murray did it here.
Single-handedly kept them in the postseason last year. And then helped them win the world championship. And you got to love that, though. It's like the guy's running to first. When he's not hitting, he's still playing gold glove third base. Can't take those bad at-bats out into the field with you.
So Zimmerman walks, bringing Adam Dunn up, and you don't want to face Dunn with men on base if you can avoid it. As Adam Dunn is having some kind of a year, Zimmerman with the walk. Dunn has 17 home runs, second most in the National League, trailing only Corey Hart of Milwaukee, who has 18.
Of course, 13 were solos. He said, just call me Han Solo.
There's a ball hit in the right field, but there's Lugo in the shift, and he gets it to first. Dunn is out, inning in. So a 2-out walk, a man left. Nats don't score. No score. Here come the Birds in the bottom of the first. For the Birds, Patterson, Tejada, Markakis. Luke Scott DHing today with Adam Jones in center field. Wieters and Scott Moore at first base. Off the bench last night, 2 for 2 with a home run and a base hit in the winning rally. Julio Lugo at second base and Cesar Asturias at shortstop.
PNC Bank Scouting Report. It's brought to you by PNC for the achiever in us all, and we need Levon to go out and achieve an awful lot tonight. Take control of this game. You got to have some good command. 12 walks in his last 3 starts. 0-4 in his last 4 away starts for the Nationals.
Ball 1 to Corey Patterson, high leading off. Levon Hernandez, 35 years old, out of Cuba, Villa Clara, Cuba. Now it is 14th big league season. And Patterson base it up the middle. So here go the Orioles. All of a sudden, Jim Palmer, the Birds have found their bats, and it really is contagious.
Well, they need to play some better D behind Levon. He needs it. He's a contact pitcher. Morgan in center, Hammer in left, Bernardine over in right. You got Zimmerman, Desmond on the left, Kennedy and Dunn on the right, and then Pudge Rodriguez playing another game, day game after night game, and Levon Hernandez with over 430 career Major League starts on the hill.
And that defense brought to you by Cisco Federal, a proud mission partner to the United States Department of Defense. Here is Miguel Tejada. Miguel's having a real good homestand. Takes inside 1-0. And last night, well, Miggy had one of those nights that, come on, give me a break.
Well, that's what your defense has to do, though. When you make a mistake, and he was great on defense, Nigel Morgan picked it up out there. But you know what? He continues to harass the pitchers with his bat. And as a former pitcher yourself, too, Jim, you know, guys like this, you want to try to miss them in the lineup and not let them beat you. But you're always cognizant of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, Miguel, I think the one number, it's not really applicable right now. He's just got to start hitting better with runners in scoring position. The average is getting back up towards 300. I mean, the power numbers would have gone 206 at bats without a home run until Thursday night. But 4 hits. You know, confidence, I don't care how long you played, confidence does sometimes bring success. And he usually figures it out.
Hernandez misses low 2-1.
He seemed very happy to meet Earl Weaver and Brooks Robinson and wear these socks. It's a very special sock.
Stirrup socks. How about that? That is a good look. Look at that. You got the
well, for some of us that were older, and taller, we would actually, your pant leg would not be rolled up like that.
Well, and I'm so superstitious. My roommate Norm Charlton and myself, we actually went upstairs in Cincinnati and got some of the old 70s and 60s wool socks. And I always wore wool socks when I pitched on the mound. They were the throwbacks, but we got them from upstairs.
Keeps your ankles warm, too.
A little bit of luck, though.
2-1 pitch is hit towards right field. There's a base hit. Back-to-back singles to begin the inning. And the Orioles have something going against Levon Hernandez. And you may have noticed that on the front of the Nationals jerseys, it says Senators. They are wearing the replica uniforms of the 1970 Washington Senators, their road uniforms from that year. They were in the American League East. The Orioles finished first that year, and the Nationals finished last. Excuse me, the Senators of that era, 1970.
But in 69, they finished 10 games above 500.
Yep.
Made a few trades first week of the season, and things went downhill. I think they lost their last 14 straight.
Markakis takes outside, 1-0.
But nobody was going to beat the Orioles back then anyway. 69-70, two of the best teams you ever played on.
Oh, yeah. And then 71 wasn't too bad either. Only 101 wins that year. But, I mean, I was just looking at the numbers this year. We didn't score 800 runs, but it was 792, but only gave up 572. So there was a 200-plus difference.
Markakis takes low and appeal to third. He did not swing, says Tim Timmons.
Well, those are the kind of pitches that you made a great point, because we've seen already with Levon, both balls have been in hitters' counts in the middle of the plate, and he can't pitch that way. Everybody talks about how, I mean, kind of like Warren Spahn. This is the right-handed Warren Spahn, where he could hit a gnat in the rear end if it's on the corner. And he's not doing that, but it's only 2 hitters into the game.
Jim Riggleman not happy with his team's performance last night. You give up a 6-0 lead. Here's the 2-0 to Markakis on the corner for a strike.
Well, it's something that they take a lot of infield. They work hard on their defense, and you got to have some accountability out there on the field. You got to have some pride. You're Major League Baseball players, and once again, worst fielding team in the major leagues. And the only people that can change that are the guys on the field.
Hey, I saw that graphic 12 times, 2 runs or less. And there's again. I mean, that's a pitcher's pitch.
Nice sidearm backdoor slider.
Well, I remember, every year it seems like you could see a much slimmer version. I was talking to him when we were over in Washington. I said, so racquetball. I said, when can we play? He goes, come on. His eyes lit up. That's right. That's how. I get down to Miami where he lives. Found some guys that whipped him into shape. Said his knees have never felt better. I don't know if anybody knows how old he is. It doesn't really matter if you're pitching well.
2-2 coming to Markakis is inside ball 3 with 2 on and none down in the bottom of the first inning. Markakis has hit in 2 straight games, and over the last 9 games, he has 14 hits. Chance here to get the Orioles an early lead. Juan Samuel has the team playing very aggressively. And the hitting is finally coming around up and down the lineup. Full count on Markakis. We'll see if the runners go. They do not. And it's popped up. Shallow center field for Niger Morgan. And he'll put it away, and the runners will hold 1 down in the Oriole first.
No, that's a bad at bat right there by Markakis. First and second, no outs. You got to move the runners over to second and third. Move those guys along. So.
Yeah, he had 1 pitch to hit, and then that ball, he made a perfect pitch, and then right there, 3-2 slider, just a little movement, and then Nick pops it up, doesn't advance the runners.
Well, and the one glaring statistic, the Orioles ERA, a lot like last year's Nationals, 5, and the ERA against is 3.2. So if you can't put up a bunch of runs to cover that ERA, there's no way you can win ball games.
The Orioles, off their last 2 games, both wins, are no longer last in the league in runs scored. They have passed Seattle, so they're moving at least in the positive direction. Here's Luke Scott, takes a strike. American League lowest batting average with runners in scoring position, and that's not something Luke aspired to lead the league in.
No, and I mean, look at the group. I mean, Napoli, of course, a power guy. Beckham's, this is his first full year. Damon, he's not hitting that Yankee lineup, so it proves it's not always easy to hit the runners in scoring position. It can be bad luck. You can be feeling like you got to get it done every time up there. That's a tough way to hit. Because Luke is not the most, I mean, he's a terrific guy. He's just not the most relaxed guy. When he got out of his slump early on, he said, boy, it's like walking through the desert and finding an oasis. I mean, that's...
Well, you got to find a way to slow it down and relax when you're out there.
Yeah. And Terry Crowley, he knows that. He's the hitting instructor. Mike Bordick has been on board this week. Everybody, of course, knows Bordy from spring training. Terrific player in his own right.
Patterson and Tejada led off the inning with back-to-back singles. First and second now with 1 down. For Livan Hernandez, his 15th start for the Nationals. And Desmond sneaking in behind Corey Patterson, so Livan Hernandez steps off.
And just from my experience, I mean, Stan Williams, who played with Koufax and Drysdale, would always say, right after I got my signal, I would blow out my air and basically and take a deep breath and let all that negative energy out.
0-2 is a called strike 3. Luke Scott does not agree, but he's down on strikes, and 2 men down in the first. So Hernandez and out away from getting out of it.
I'm not sure this is a real good matchup right here. There's your fastball, strike 1, a little change up. Look at the movement. And then right here, little Greg Maddux. Started right at his hip, running back over the inside corner, and it already appears that it's going to have a lot to do with it. Bob Davison, very generous to a control pitcher.
Pitch Track by Kinetic. It's brought to you by Kinetic North America, providing world-class technology to our national and homeland security customers.
So it'll take a 2-out base hit. And Adam Jones now. There's a bouncer swept towards third. Zimmerman has it. He'll go to second for the force on Tejada, and the inning ends. So back-to-back singles to begin the inning. But 2 men left. We'll head to the second at Camden Yards. No score.
Jim Johnson could be coming up back to the major leagues and healthy soon. The bullpen relievers that are here now have really stepped it up the past couple of days, especially last night. The bullpen pitched 4 2/3 scoreless innings. That was the longest scoreless streak in a game since June 13th of 2009. And look at those numbers over the last 3 games, 11 1/3 scoreless innings. So last night, bullpen played a major role in that win as the Orioles got down to a 6-0 deficit. The bullpen came in and held them, and the Orioles came back to win. Jim?
All right, Amber, and a good thing you have that bullpen working well at the right time because the starter got knocked out before the 5th inning ended. Jason Birkin having a fabulous year, an all-star kind of a year. And last night, the bullpen, it was Hendrickson, Mata, Ullman, and Simone. And Simone worked that scoreless 9th, stranded 2, and got the win. One and one on Willingham, slow roller foul. Rodriguez on deck, then Bernardina against Brad Bergeson. Bird, his first game with the Orioles in 13 days. He last worked in relief June 13th against the Mets. And you see Josh Willingham, what he does in wins versus losses.
The Nationals go as the hammer goes. Look at that in the wins and the losses. So we need to get the hammer going today.
Well, Bergeson, again, as we mentioned, he knows where Josh Willingham is. It's kind of what you described last night. In the case, he likes it middle in, not too far in. And then all of a sudden becomes a real power hitter. Kind of like right there, maybe a little bit lower.
But here's the thing, I mean, and looking at all the Hall of Famers and you guys talking about 1970, they did the little things. They didn't always try to hit home runs when they had to just hit a fly ball to get a guy in from third with 1 out or move a guy from second to third with no outs. I mean, they always took it upon themselves to do it. You shouldn't need to have a coach tell you to do something baseball-wise.
Yeah, I think that was the overwhelming thing that I got from the luncheon today was Frank Robinson talking about it. He said, a lot of times Earl did not, with a leadoff double, man on second with nobody out, want us to get us over, and Brooks and Boog and I do that because it was the right thing to do. Just had an innate sense of, or you were taught early on in your minor league career.
Check swing, slow roller, tough play. Tejada charges, picks it up, and has no play. An infield hit on an excuse me swing by Josh Willingham and a leadoff single. And the Nationals have their second base runner and first base hit. Well, today's second inning is brought to you by Luna. Call today for the Luna Double and get your second room of flooring free. Call 877-241-LUNA. Well, the active career leaders in doubles, and the man coming to the plate right on top of the list, 559, even more than Manny Ramirez. Ivan Rodriguez, he has certainly found a home in Washington with the Nationals. He's thrilled to be there, and they're thrilled to have him.
I'm glad he's totally turned this team around, especially the pitching staff, where they gave him a 2-year deal.
Willingham took off. Rodriguez, a protection swing. That pitch was sailing high and away, and he just slapped it foul.
Jim Riggleman loves to do the hit and run, loves to put runners in motion. I don't have the number. I think he's 5 for 5 or 6 for 6 in stolen bases. I mean, he'll steal when he needs to steal a base.
Now, Bergeson, of course, very quick to the plate. That's the one thing that it's very difficult to run on him unless you go and, just pick a pitch and hope it's a breaking ball or a changeup. That's what you liked about him so much last year. Threw a lot of ground balls. Of course, a little bit different defense last year. In fact, that Melvin Moore played third. There you go, 7 for 7. So very effective as far as stealing bases.
I'm sorry, Josh. I shortcut you there with 6 stolen bases. You had 7.
You had him thrown out 2 times, too.
No, I didn't. I think he was 5 for 5 or 6 for 6.
Oh, okay.
No, he's perfect.
There have been only 4 attempts on Bergeson in his 55 innings now. 3 have succeeded in stealing, and 1 was caught.
I was thinking these socks had to make your legs look longer.
No, I wore my pants way down.
There's a bouncer towards short as Turris backs up to play the hop. Second one, and Lugo no throw, and Willingham made sure as he went in hard as he should. They get the lead runner, 1 down. Big bouncer, I think, cost them.
That extra little bounce, Jim, you're right. Probably helps right there. The one right in front of the plate, then that one right there slows it down. Nice little shovel there by Ashiris over to Lugo. So you got basically 2 shortstops playing over there.
Yeah, Julio, not that he had any chance of turning a double play. Still not that comfortable playing second base. And also the type of arm strength that Julio has is better going towards first base. At second base, you got to turn around and make the pivot.
Well, we both teams very similar in that respect. We have Christian Guzman most days playing second, and you have Lugo over there.
Roger Bernardino starting in right field tonight. He came on last night as a pinch runner and then stayed in defensively. Hitting at 282. 1-1 the count. Bernardino 4 home runs, 20 ribbies. And a lot of speed. Ivan Rodriguez at first with 1 down. Scoreless game, top of the second, middle game of 3. The final 3 interleague games of the year.
Well, and Roger, by trade, a natural center fielder, learning to play right field, doing an excellent job. He'll make some miscues here and there, but has an excellent arm.
Yeah, it reminds me, watching him throw last night when he came in and pinch running and went to him. He's got a good arm.
Yes, he does.
He's just got a nice delivery, very fluid.
Line to center field. Jones coming in on it, makes the catch. Hung up just long enough.
Yeah, he's over about a step or a half to right center field, so that ball's slicing away, and it's just a matter of tracking it early, and he does.
Well, and everything's that first step. Getting a jump on the ball. He gets a great jump on the ball and then makes the catch easily.
Yeah, he's got a little drop step every once in a while. So, of course, when you play shallow, that usually comes into play. Play a little bit deeper, which they encouraged.
Now 2 down. Here's Adam Kennedy, who's getting a start at second base today as Jim Riggleman went to the extra left-handed bat.
Well, again, that one of our scouting report is how are you going to get lefties out? Because they came in just wearing them out at 358, 5 home runs. Now, I'd like to not have to tell you that, but that's just the case. So you need to get them out, and I always wondered about that, and that's why that changeup in the sinker, you just got to get good movement and stay down in the strike zone.
Well, but Brad should have a little advantage over Adam. Adam likes the ball, and from the State Farm over the right field, he doesn't hit too many balls down the left field line or at the left fielder, so he's basically a left center field to the right field line kind of hitter.
Yeah, I always thought and we know that most lefties like the ball down. He's one of the better high ball hitters that I've seen, especially when he's with the Angels. Kind of lifts the ball. Not that he can't hit something thigh high on the inside middle of the plate.
The ball hit by Bernardino, the first one hit in the air, and it took 7 batters.
Well, just like Levon Hernandez, both Jims. I mean, if you can't get that pitch right there, you can't consistently get some outside pitches. It's going to be a tough day for the pitcher. I mean, you got to loosen up the strike zone. Bob Davidson back there today.
Ball and a strike on Adam Kennedy. And there's a strike.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to force your left-handed hitters to cover the outside corner, and when you do that, Dave Schmidt, who a longtime major league pitcher, who's the minor league pitching coordinator, said he taught Ferguson to pitch in 2005. Of course, the first time he did it, he had a 3-run home run. Brad didn't like it, but he learned to do it. So, and what he did so well last year, because he could locate the outside corner, is move left-handed hitters' feet. This year, because his command has been a little bit off, he hasn't been able to do that. So your hitter count more prevalent, and hence the high batting average.
Rodriguez leading from first. And it's slapped foul by Adam Kennedy. With Kennedy in the lineup today to get that left-handed bat in, Jim Riggleman DH'd Christian Guzman. The only left-handed bat who's not in the lineup today is Willie Harris, who did start last night. But with Guzman DHing and Kennedy at second, there was nowhere left to play Willie Harris. 2-2 on the veteran. And a high pop-up first base side, and it's the second baseman Lugo calling now in shallow right. Has it for the out. Leadoff infield hit, man left, middle of the second at Camden Yards. Battle of the Beltways, no score. middle game of 3 in the Battle of the Beltways version 2. For the first 4 games of the 6. Series even at 2-2. Matt Wieters will lead off. Scott Moore and Julio Lugo in the throwback uniforms from 1970. Wieters up there from the left side against Levon Hernandez. And that ball swept towards the hole. There's a base hit. And Matt Wieters has quietly now hit in 5 straight games and a leadoff single in the second inning. Don't forget to cast your Scott's All-Star ballot at Lowe's and enter to win a VIP All-Star experience, all compliments of Scott's. And Neo's offense on this homestand coming on, averaging just under 7 runs per game. They've hit 6 home runs, 9 doubles, and 340 with runners in scoring position. And why those 6 home runs in 4 games is big. They had hit a total of 5 in the prior 15 games.
And what, the record 3-3? So that tells you that you need to play in concert. Pitching needs to get a little bit better, and then all of a sudden you'll even win more games.
Well, and Matt's doing what Adam Dunn did. He started getting some singles, started hitting the ball in the gaps, and then all of a sudden the home runs came. And so for Wieters, I mean, it's just making some contact. Just work on just putting the ball out there to left center field, wherever it's pitched, hit it, and then all of a sudden, a guy makes a mistake, then he's going to start mashing again.
Here's the 1-0 to Scott Moore, swung on and missed. Last night, Scott Moore came off the bench, and he gave the Orioles a big, big lift.
Yeah, he was able to get 5 straight fastballs, and that 5th one went sailing. Tyler Clippard came in trying to protect a 3-run lead. Had, really no command whatsoever. And in so many hitters counts, had to give in to the hitters, and the Orioles took advantage of it.
Takes a strike there, 1-2.
I want to ask you a mechanical question, too, because when Tyler's a little quieter, a little bit more relaxed, his velocity is up, and he's got more movement on the fastball. I mean, we watch a lot of young guys, and sometimes they think the more I muscle it, the more I hump up on it, it's going to go harder. It's kind of the opposite.
Well, it really is. And again, we talked about merry-go-round, Ferris wheels, especially for an overhand guy like Tyler, is better than being around. And this is going to be one of those difficult afternoons for Scott Moore, because you're really going to get tested by the veteran. Can you hit the off-speed pitch?
Can you take that to left field?
Right, exactly. I mean, you're going to have to cover the plate and be able to wait a little bit.
Kinetic here on the pitch track. He throws a little backdoor slider, and you gets the pitch, and
you can't be taking those close 2-strike pitch, because Bob Davison is already, to me, he illustrated he's going to give you the one off the corner.
Well, as long as he gives it to Bergeson. I mean, that was a pretty good, fair pitch for a pitcher, but give that pitch to Brad Bergeson.
Levon Hernandez set to face Julio Lugo. With 1 on and 1 down now, and Lugo fouls it back.
I think both teams, then you just want the zone to be consistent.
Oh, yeah.
And then the hitters need to make the proper adjustments, but give it both ways.
Good numbers against Levon Hernandez. Of course, Levon originally, when he defected from Cuba, signed with the Florida Marlins for the 96 season. Did reach the big leagues by the end of that year, but 97, his first full year, was when he blossomed on a team that went on and won the World Series. Here's a strike to Lugo, and it's 0-2, and he stayed with the Marlins into 99, was traded to San Francisco. The Giants then traded him to Montreal, and he was on that team that then relocated and became the Nationals. The Nationals traded him away to Arizona, then he went to Minnesota, then to Colorado, then to the Mets, and now a free agent signing back with Washington. So he has been around and somehow always ends up back with the Nats.
Well, he's effective. I mean, for today's pitchers, not in Jim's time, but he's averaged about 7 innings per start his entire career. So you throw out 430 starts in his career, that's a pretty good percentage for this day and age. I mean, he's a workhorse. He's not a frontline starter any longer, but he throws a lot of strikes, and he gives you a chance every 5th day.
Yeah, he was in April. I mean, he's 3-1 with an 0.87. Then in May, he wasn't horrible. 1-2. They didn't score him a lot of runs. 3.25 ERA, which is certainly palatable. And then this month, 2-1 ERA is up there a little bit over 4.5 runs a game.
Well, he's won his last, or the Nationals have won his last 5 home starts and lost his last 4 road starts. So when he pitches on the road right now, he's just getting lit up.
Pudge Rodriguez wanted that one. He lined up on the chalk, and the right-hander's batter's box didn't move the glove. Hernandez hit it, but Davidson wouldn't give him the call.
So you're not going to get 4 inches off the inside of the outside. You're going to get about 2.
But he tried.
Well, why should he? You can do that when you're 0-2.
The 1-2 to Lugo breaks outside, and the count evens 2-2. He only averages 3 walks per 9 innings, and when you consider 11 of those came in 2 starts.
That's what you were
really
talking about. Yeah, look at those numbers there. Loves to pitch in Washington.
162 big league wins for Livan Hernandez. 2-2 on Julio Lugo, 1 out and 1 on. Check swing and a tapper, and he is out.
He stepped on the ball.
Bob Davidson said that he was out of the box, so he is out. That assist will go to Pudge Rodriguez, 2 unassisted as Lugo is out. And a tough break for Julio Lugo, but in his hustle to get out of the box, he ran into the out.
Yeah, he's just trying to stay alive. That was a big swooping breaking ball. He's already shown us the hard slider. I mean, so again, right here, I mean, just trying to stay alive. There it is. Are you out of the box?
Yep.
So Wieters sent back to first base.
Pretty nice camera work right there.
Great Exmo camera work. Massing people both for the Orioles and for us down in D.C. That's my favorite thing that they do.
So that is scored as a
2 unassisted.
2 unassisted.
Really? Asturias takes ball 1. Fans, don't forget, get online, Orioles.com, and your chance to own a piece of Orioles and Nationals history. The throwback jerseys and hats worn in the game today by both teams are up for auction at Orioles.com. All the proceeds will benefit the Orioles Charitable Foundation. You can even bid on the Orioles game-worn helmets and the jerseys worn today by members of the 1970 World Championship team. Each item will be autographed, then authenticated. The bidding will close on Monday, July 5th, so get online, Orioles.com. And there's ball 2 outside to Cesar Asturias.
I think the only 2 guys I could bid on their hats would be Dunn and Wieters. I think they're the only ones with heads big enough to fit my cranium.
Don't they have the stretch hats?
It's got to stretch pretty far.
Bloop towards left field. Willingham was right there and has it for the out. So the Orioles go down. Leadoff single man left. Will head to the 3rd at Camden Yards. No score. Sarasota. Nice day to be out on the water, but a better day to be at the ballpark. As we look in from beyond the bullpen picnic area. 4 hits in the game. The Orioles have 3, but Livan Hernandez has been able to get out of it. Orioles have left all 3 on. Brad Bergeson has allowed 2 base runners, and 2 have been left on, an infield hit and a walk. In his return to the Birds, Ian Desmond leads off, shows bunt, pulls the bat back. Wieters asked for an appeal. Bob Davidson did not ask, so he said he saw it. Desmond, the number 9 batter, and then back to the top of the lineup, Niger Morgan and Christian Guzman. There's a strike. Bergeson trying to even his record. He is 3-4. Swung out and missed 1-2. It's kind of amazing, and Rob Dibble mentioned the Orioles team ERA, which is 5.06, and that is the highest in the American League. But Brad Bergeson is still tied for the Orioles team lead in wins, and he's been back and forth to the minors 3 times. That shows you what kind of year it's been.
Yeah, well, he talks about the fact he's not that far away from making quality pitches and being more consistent. But again, after last year, he's not getting a lot of run support, except when he wins. You just can't give up 5-6 runs with this ball club. You made a great point. I mean, when your team ERA is over 5 runs a game, not that you want it to be there, that's where it is. And that's not including errors. So you're giving up more than 5 runs a game, and you're only scoring in the mid-3s. It's tough to win games.
Here's a 2-2 pitch to Desmond, inside ball 3.
That's why I can't stand that quality start stat. It's just garbage. 4.5 ERA over 6 innings is not a well-pitched ball game. If your team wins, yeah, that's a quality start. But if you go out there, you can only give your team 18 or 21 outs. To me, that's not quality. I need a little bit more quantity than that. At about 3 runs per 8 innings.
Leadoff walk is never a good idea.
Well, not to a guy that's 0 for 17.
I wanted to ask you too, Jim, when you came up, and I know you're 19 when you came up to the big leagues, but you always felt your job was on the line when you took the field your first couple of years. I mean, I just think guys come up now and they think, okay, poor numbers and I'll get a few shots. I never felt that way. And I was even told to my face when I came up, you're going down in 2 weeks. And I went 9 outings without giving up a run because I didn't want to go back down. And I think guys need to pitch a little more like their jobs depend on it. Or play the field, everything. It's a privilege to play in the big leagues. It's not a given.
Morgan bunts. It's a good one. Bergeson off quickly. And the underhand toss. Oh, that was close. Niger Morgan can fly, but Bergeson got it there in time. I don't think that's a good idea to do that the next time, but all's well that ends well.
Well, you get to it very easily, and you don't work on that the way in spring training. That's a long underhand toss. It works, but little adventures right here.
Well, and the big thing for us guys is to see Niger Morgan bunt it to that side of the field.
Well, but what I don't agree with is that we are in the American League ballpark. You only get 27 outs, and you have your leadoff guy. The guy went 4 hits last night, and you give him an out. To me, that's like Christmas coming early.
But in the big picture, he only bunts to the left side of the infield all the time. So what I'm thinking is maybe next time or tomorrow or the next day, when he's trying to bunt for a base hit, he's going to get more comfortable dragging the bunt down the first base line. So
give him a Corey Patterson highlight video, or a Mickey Mantle. Of course, he wouldn't know who Mickey Mantle is probably, but and I don't mean that.
I know.
Yeah, it's just. What, he get down there about 3-7?
Well, and Phil Wood told us a great story at lunch today. He was talking about Harmon Killebrew at the end of his career and Frank White at the beginning of his career following him around like a little puppy dog. And then Phil asked him, he said, why are you following him around? Why you look like, everything, you're hanging on every word. He said, what can't I learn from Harmon Killebrew? I can only, learn all kinds of good stuff and knowledge. And that's one thing I think is missing. They need as many veteran guys, whether they're on your coaching staff or on your bench. And these kids, I've said it many times, Jim, in the last 2 years, listen to the elder statesmen. Listen to the guys who have 20 years in the big leagues. Maybe you'll last a little longer up here.
So the hit by pitch puts 2 on, and here's ball 1 to Ryan Zimmerman. The walk, a sacrifice bunt, and a hit batsman.
So you walk a guy that's 0 for 17. Guzman is, the numbers look pretty good, but he's only hitting 245 since in June. So you just put 2 guys on you needed to get out to get to these guys, even though Zimmerman's been struggling a little bit. But I think if you've ever seen him play, you're 1 swing away from a 3-run home run. I mean, that's the type of hitter he is. Or a double up the gap when he's hitting well to right center field.
So he gets ahead 2-0.
And it's fine to put guys on if you can make quality pitches, but if you can't, and that's usually for young pitchers why they're on in the first place, it's when you get into trouble. Because you just walk the guy, hit a guy to get to the middle of their order, and they have a great middle of the order. And that's 2-0 gets that kind of swing.
Well, and when Levon's going well, he'll pitch around the 3, 4, 5 guys in a run-scoring situation. He'll even walk a 3 or 4 guy. He will never give in. But lately he's been walking some of the other guys, and that's been getting him into trouble because he's a contact pitcher. But I totally agree with what you're saying. Pitch around the guys that can hurt you, like Zimmerman and Dunn, but go after the 9 guy like Desmond. That's what we didn't do last night against Lugo and Echuris. You got to get those bottom of the order guys.
2-1 is swept towards the hole as Torres tries to go to third. Can't make a play. That's an infield hit. Nice effort by Torres. He had just the one play, but in his momentum going towards the grandstand, the throw pulled Tejada.
Well, and a very good idea right here because it's a forced play at third base. He knows he has no other chance, and throw pulls Tejada off the bag.
Well, playing the infield is such an important part of reading your pitcher, and when you get behind Zimmerman, you're up the middle, and you take a circle route, it's just harder to get to the ball. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, whether it's 70 or 69, Mark Belanger would have gotten the ball just a shade quicker, and you would have gotten the force, because that was not a bad pitch.
And this ball's ripped into right field. There's a base hit, and the Nats are going to get the lead. Desmond scores. Guzman heading to the plate. Heading to third is Zimmerman, and there's a 2-run double by Adam Dunn. So the walk and the hit batsmen do hurt Ferguson. They have now scored, and the Nationals grab a 2-0 third-inning lead.
Well, this is our left-handed version here on the kinetic pitch track of Frank Howard, and he just mashes that pitch, goes across the plate to pull it, and he plates a couple of runs. So now he's got 6 RBI in the past 2 games.
That's almost a carbon copy of the double he hit last night. Almost the same place, maybe just a shade higher.
Boy, when he's going well. I mean, and he's a free agent at the end of the year.
But why would you think, when you're a young pitcher and you don't have overwhelming stuff, that you're going to be able to get these guys out the second time through the order when they make adjustments if you don't get the 9-hitter? And again, just remember how big the Orioles affect, because if they don't give them the bunt, the Orioles don't have an out.
Well, and you and I talk about this. Fight the fight, you can win. You know, don't get to the point where now you have nowhere to put Adam Dunn. You have to throw him strikes.
Check swing, and Willingham went too far. That's strike 1. Orioles early in this game have the infield back. So on a ground ball, the Nats would get another run. Tejada might be able to come home if it's hit sharply, but it looks like the Orioles are giving the run to get an out.
Well, yeah, and you have to do that, Jim, unfortunately, and that's Juan Samuel looking at the fact that the Orioles just don't score that many runs. So you can give up 1 and hope that maybe you can get 5 at some point today, but you can't give up 4 because, again, you just don't do that on a regular basis, even though this week the offense has been pretty good.
This is inside. 2-1 the count. Willingham, an infield, hit his first at-bat on a check swing. Didn't mean to swing, but it rolled towards third, and Tejada had no play. Zimmerman at third and Dunn at second with only 1 out. Slider for a strike, 2-2. Ferguson is 10-9 in his career. He pitched very well last year, and as Jim Palmer mentioned before he took that Billy Butler line drive off the shin, he was the Orioles' most consistent pitcher. 2-2 is hit hard. Tejada has it. He'll look the runner back. Will he have a play? Throw not in time. He just lost the feel of it. It popped up out of his glove, and he couldn't get it across.
Well, that's what I was talking about. You know, a shortstop trying to learn to play. Now, this ball's hit very sharply, but again, that's a ball that last year Moore would have caught. He wouldn't have done this because, you know, he played third, much more comfortable. So there is an out that you don't get. Well, load them up. Good news, they don't score a run.
Not to make excuses for Tejada, because he should have made that play, but when you're walking guys and you're in a long inning, they start to get back on the heels of their feet, and that's when they start booting plays, and that's when you get a big rally going.
Ivan Rodriguez takes outside, so the bases loaded for the second time in this inning. Willingham is at first, Dunn at second, Zimmerman at third. And Ivan Rodriguez facing Ferguson.
Yeah, he's got 21 pitches right now, just in this half inning alone.
Check swing and appeal to first. He went too far, Tim Sheeta says, so the count evens 1-1. That's huge.
So you look at it, he's gotten 1 out on 21 pitches. That's a long inning for your defense to stand around this.
And they gave him that out. A bonus.
Yeah, on the sack bunt.
3 hits, a walk, and a hit batsman in this inning. Ground ball towards first. Scott Moore goes to second, out there, back to first, is not in time, and a run scores. So the Orioles see the Nats score a third run as Moore tried to go to second and back to first. As Torres did clear the bag, and
then he threw it to Moore instead of Bergenson. Watch this right here at the end. He throws it to the first baseman.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter because Ivan runs too quickly to try to turn two, especially. But Moore, a nice play and very difficult play for a guy that doesn't play a lot of first base.
I'm just worried about injuring either guy. I mean, with the pitcher and the first baseman right there, communication, somebody's got to take charge over there.
Well, again, this is a guy that doesn't play a lot of first base. Still doesn't mean you don't communicate.
Well, here is Bernardina, the 8th batter to come up. Nice scoop there by Matt Wieters to save a wild pitch. A 3-run inning for the Nats. Last night, they had a 3-run 4th inning, which extended their lead to 6-0. The Orioles last night did not score until the 5th. Jim Riggleman hoping to erase the memory of the 4-error game last night. Fastball taken for a strike.
Well, that's the pitch you try to replicate. I mean, that's a good sinker. And Roger Bernardino says, I don't want to have anything to do with it.
You need a boat oar to get out there to hit that sinker. So, yeah, he didn't want to try to go out there and get that.
Ball and a strike on Bernardino. 2 on and 2 out now. Fouls it back.
Another good sinker. And that's the kind of movement you were talking about, Jim, is that, with the proper mechanics and arm action, you just relax out there. The ball is going to do all the work in the movement. It's the grip. It's all about the mechanics and execution.
That was one of my keys to the game, relax. And it's hard to relax when you're struggling for really the first time at the major league level. But again, great success quickly through the minor leagues for Brad.
Runners on the corners, 2 down. Look to third, look back to first. Ivan Rodriguez not going.
And that statistic you just showed right there, the 62 pitches already. We've done this to so many pitchers. The patience pays off. You get their pitch counts up, and we can get guys to 100 pitches by the 5th and 6th inning.
Line to left field. Coming over is Patterson. Can't get it. There's another base hit. Adam Dunn will score, and it's a 4-run inning and a 4-0 Nationals lead.
Pretty nice approach right there, Rob.
Well, we talked about it before the game, and I told him, I said, you start going to left field, you'll hit 320. And I'm happy for the kid. I mean, he's been pulling a lot of pitches and missing those outside pitches. Look at that. H.H. Gregg here on the Exmo. He's got to stay over the plate, try to keep that front shoulder tight. It's the only way to defend that sinking fastball.
Exmo brought to you by H.H. Gregg. We make buying TVs and appliances simple. H.H. Gregg, price and advice guaranteed. Nats have batted around. Here's Adam Kennedy, the 9th hitter to come up this inning. Popped up to Lugo his first at-bat. Pops it up again, center field now. Here comes Adam Jones. And Jones puts it away, and the inning finally ends, but not before the Nats score 4. Bob Carpenter joins us when we come back, mid-third, 4-0 Nats.
where they want them after what happened here last night. Bob Carpenter to join our astute analysts here. And Bergeson, the location problems. Point well taken about where the outs are in the lineup and where they weren't in that inning.
Yeah, struggled. And, of course, for you, it was only 3-0 when you came in yesterday. It's 4-0, so you have one more to work with.
Hunter and I have a way of calling all the other teams' highlights.
Yep. Well, if you're an Oriole fan, you're probably they're probably glad you're in here right now. And if you're a Nats, you're probably a little disappointed.
How do you feel
happy
about
to see it.
How did the 1970 Senators catch the ball? Because that's what we need. Good defense the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to have to do what the Orioles did, which is score a lot of runs. Against a very crafty right-hander. Usually you talk about lefties as being crafty.
Livan Hernandez, first 2 innings, 30 pitches, 19 strikes. Pretty good comeback after giving up those first 2 base hits.
You know what I don't ask you enough, Jim, is how much fun was it to play with some of those guys? I mean, so many of them are Hall of Famers. Watching like Frank Robinson and Davey Johnson and Brooks Robinson play. That had to be fun just to be sitting there the days you weren't pitching.
Oh, yeah. We pitched every 4th day back then. And, of course, I've always been a proponent of learning as much when you're sitting on the bench. So even when I hurt my shoulder, I was watching Dave McNally, who won 24 games that year. And here we go.
I don't know.
We didn't go to the high leg kick. Earl. And Earl he didn't get thrown out when he gave the Larned, so he a little bit off his game.
Yes, he did. Bob Davidson threw him out.
Yeah, well, he was going out to argue the balk.
That's funny. So after Corey Patterson bounces out to Kennedy, here's Miguel Tejada went the other way for a base hit, first time up. Orioles have 3 hits. In fact, they, until a moment ago, had their leadoff man up every inning early. Leadoff man not on this time, and that's a good breaking ball from Livan Hernandez. But, Rob, isn't this what you're looking to Livan for after the helter-skelter nature of last night's second half of that game? You're looking for a veteran guy to come in and just settle down the mess.
Absolutely. Just calm everything down. Give us an opportunity to maybe get in this game and stay in this game. And now the offense has responded after the first 2 solid innings.
Well, that's what you really try to do as a starting pitcher. You want to make the guys playing behind you think you have a chance to win. And how do you do that? You pitch quickly, you throw strikes, you get them out.
And they respond. They're into the game. They're into every pitch.
Desmond scooping that one. It helps to have a 6'6" first baseman, and that's 2 outs. Voting is open for the All-Star Game in Anaheim. Send your favorite Nationals and your favorite Orioles to the All-Star Game in Southern California. You can vote up to 25 times at nationals.com. Vote early, vote often.
And Jim, didn't you think when your team got you 3 or 4 runs, it was your job to go out there and throw up a donut, a big 0?
Well, you try to do that. You want to get them. If I'm Livan Hernandez, I want my guys up at bat again. So how do I do that? Just go out there and have one of those shutdown innings, throw my pitches. Bob, you talked about the first 2 batters getting on. It is, at least my experience, when you come out of that bullpen, it's different when the game starts. You got to learn the umpire's strike zone, your release point, because that's especially for a guy like Livan who's not overpowering anymore. Because he's got to hit his spots, otherwise he's going to struggle.
And Jim, I don't know if this applied to you, but Rob makes this point often about Livan. When he gets in a situation like that, he goes soft and softer to get outs. He's not out there giving in to anybody.
Well, no, we saw that.
And here's the 1-2-3 inning. If Willingham catches it, misjudged it off the bat by Markakis, and now that's 6 in a row for Livan Hernandez and 9 of his last 10. And by the Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill. Bring your Green Turtle receipt to the Orioles box office for a buy one, get one free ticket offer for any non-prime game. I don't know if it's any cooler over on the Inner Harbor today. High 80s, muggy at game time. Top of the fourth underway, number 9 hitter, Ian Desmond. And, of course, the 9 hitters who batted last inning. A large part of that was his leadoff walk, and now he has a leadoff base hit. His first hit in 5 games. Nationals have their 6th base hit. Ferguson, by the way, first 3 innings, 65 pitches, 39 strikes.
Yeah, that's not him if he's going to be effective.
You got to be more efficient.
There's probably something to be said about what you were talking about how, and you see the Nats all the time, the way they work the count, but it's also about commanding your stuff in another game. The interesting thing about being sent down back and forth to AAA, they use a different ball down there. So it's not an excuse, but they use a ball made in China. The regular ball is made in Costa Rica. It's a different ball.
What do guys tell you? What's different about
feel? And that's
here's one I got from today. Feel that. See get a curveball on that sucker. I think it's really slick. The seams are very small on it. But I actually was able to manipulate a ball and squeeze it to get the seams to come up.
Boy,
I'd go behind I'd go behind the pitching mound and squeeze it together.
Desmond with a jump. Throw is on target but late. And Ian Desmond swipes his 6th base of the year and his 2nd of this series.
Well, you steal it on the pitcher and you see that great jump. As soon as Ferguson turned his head to look at the catcher, Jim, he was off.
Oh, yeah, and it's a change up, so it picks a perfect pitch. The only chance is the throw is into the runner, so maybe you tag it before. But again, it's a very difficult call for any umpire to make.
Washington has now stolen 5 bases in this series already. Might have been a play at third. Ferguson didn't feel comfortable with it, and he went ahead and got Nigel Morgan, who sacrificed bunts for the 2nd time.
Well, it worked well last inning. Nigel sacrificed last inning, got him over to second base. This time he gets him over to third. But Jim makes a great point. When you're working usually, and ended up getting 4 runs last inning, but you don't want to just give up outs. And as a pitcher, when you're out there and a guy went 4 for 4, scored 4 runs last night, you always welcome a guy giving himself up right there.
Yeah, it was nothing then. Now, you know why they're doing it.
Guzman into right center. Marquez trying to get himself set for a throw. Good speed at third. He'll launch the throw. No chance. And the Nationals lead 5-0. And Christian Guzman gets his 21st RBI.
See, that's why you bunt him. Back early on, you weren't bunting him to third base, so you're going to play your infield in. This guy's struggling for Jim Riggleman. You make him a better hitter, and then he gets the job done. You were talking about the great teams I played on. That's part of it. You get him to third. Morgan does his job, and then you make Guzman who's a veteran, look for a ball to get in the air. Even though Ferguson's a sinker baller, he's not sinking the ball. And then all of a sudden you get 5 runs.
Mark Hendrickson did a nice job for the Orioles, an inning and 2/3 scoreless last night. He really settled that ball game down.
Yes, he did.
After relieving Jake Arrieta in the 5th inning.
Well, this is exactly, though, what Juan Samuel doesn't want.
Zimmerman on an off-speed pitch pulls it to his Torres. Things happening quickly, but well for Washington in the 4th. Truly manufacturing a run. The Battle of the Beltways, and today it's Washington 5-0.
Steve McCaddy told me, although Levon Hernandez has a different style of pitching than the rest of the young starters on the Nats rotation, they can still learn a lot from him. He doesn't panic when things go wrong. He's very even keel, and he doesn't change things just for the sake of change when things aren't working out. And Levon told me his message to his young colleagues is when times are tough, don't get frustrated. Be ready and think about what you can do to get better and win games. Bob?
Well said, Debbie, based on what he went through in the first inning today. First two guys in the ball game get base hits against him. Then he responds with a routine fly ball, a called third strike, and a ground ball. And here's Luke Scott.
Yeah, you've seen 4 pitches. You've seen his fastball in and out. Got the strikeout of Luke Scott to do that. You've seen changeups away. You've seen sliders, cutters.
And nothing's ever the same speed consecutively. Adam Dunn to his left. Levon fields his position well for a big man. And he has it. Time for the AT&T Mobility Trivia question. In 1962, Tom Chaney struck out 21 Orioles. How many pitches did he throw? Now, Rob and I talked about this game a couple of weeks ago after Steven Strasburg's 14 strikeout debut.
On what, 96 pitches?
He threw 16 innings against the Orioles.
So it's got to be up there in
189 or 228.
Yeah, I think 228.
I'm going to say 228.
Because Marichal in his 16 game, he threw 227.
Yes!
He beat Juan Spahn 1-0 on a Willie Mays home run in the 16th inning, 227 pitches. I said, well, did you get it, like an extra day? He said, the only time in my career.
Tom Chaney, September 12th of 62. A right-hander from Rome, Georgia. By the way, the Senators won that game 2-1 in 16.
He got the win.
And that still stands as the Major League record for strikeouts in a game. He got the W.
I'm on fire. I'm 1 for 75. It's kind of the way I hit in the big leagues.
You mean the trivia?
The trivia.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm terrible at trivia. Because we're not reading out of the media guides and stuff.
Oh, you don't cheat?
Those.
We Google whenever we can. When we're given time.
Not going to happen here.
Here's Adam Jones, who bounced out to Zimmerman first time.
Boy, that was a quick turnaround.
Yeah, you guys, they make us suffer for an inning or so down south. But they do give us time to look something up here and there.
Yeah, so you can't do that.
And when we get it right, they know why.
I think the last time I got a trivia question right, I submitted it.
I was going to say, were you the answer?
No, I might have forgotten that.
Did that one get in on him far enough? Willingham to the barrier. He kind of either ran into the wall or lost his footing, and Adam Jones sneaks one out of here for his 12th of the year. That ball got in on him, and Adam was strong enough to get enough of the sweet spot near the ball.
Yeah, well, you check the winds. I mean, this is the confluence of, a strong guy. I mean, you can see right there, short stroke, bad head to the ball. That's what the deal is, and then it got up in the wind.
And there's your Ford drive of the game by Adam Jones. Right here, he's going to smack the wall. Oh, and he ran out of real estate.
I think when Josh was just getting ready to jump for that ball, and he never got it.
Yeah, it's not a good time to throw high fly balls to left field here today because of the wind, short porch combination.
No, Levon will give up his share of home runs, but hopefully it's solo like right there.
He doesn't give up too many with men on base. That's the 9th of the year. And by the way, your local Ford dealer invites you to experience Ford like never before. Ford Drive One. Adam Jones with our Ford Drive of the game, his 12th of the year, RBI, number 32, and the Orioles hit their 59th homer of the year.
Yeah, when you have over 400 starts, solo home runs don't stop making you pitch to contact. I mean, look at that breaking ball.
And on 3 pitches, Weeder's gone. Third strikeout.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, but on some slow stuff.
Well, this is like wiffle ball. He makes the ball move like remember in the backyard you can make it do anything.
We call it the in-shoots.
Yep. Well, that was just look like a hard slider, but again, harder than some of the other ones he's thrown.
Bob calls it the swing back on the 2-seam. I love that term.
Boy, he struck out Luke Scott on that pitch.
Throws it right at the left-hander's hip.
And so does Roy Halladay. Roy Halladay did that to Adam Dunn a few times when he faced him early in the season. I mean, literally, right at his hip. 90-mile-an-hour 2-seam sinkers that went across for strikes.
He goes soft, low and away to Scott Moore, who got called out on strikes first time. He won't see the same kind of pitches he saw before he hit that ball out of the park last night. I heard you guys talking about that.
Well, 5 straight fastballs.
Yeah.
I mean, Clifford had to do that because...
Well, 5 straight anything.
Yeah.
5 straight curveballs, 5 straight changeups. I mean, eventually, these are major league hitters. They're the best in the world.
That's a good approach.
Yep, slaps that ball the other way for a base hit, but eventually they're going to adjust. Just like Bob, you said, and Jim, we talked about on Ferguson, the second time through the lineup, okay, now I've seen you. Now I've seen you face about 10, 15 hitters, whatever. I've got a read on you, and right there, Moore, you said this is first at bat. He needs to go the other way. What did he do the second at bat? H.H. Gregg shows you. Goes to left field for a single.
Yeah, there are 2 pitchers on the Nats staff who couldn't be more different. But that approach right there helps against both of them. That's Levon and Strasburg. That's what the Kansas City Royals did when they had multiple hits against Steven on that day game Wednesday.
Well, I asked Scott Mora, who actually faced him in AAA, and I said, tell me about Strasburg. He said, well, overwhelming stuff. I mean, it's a little bit easier once you've seen it. Doesn't make it, I mean, should I say, maybe less difficult. It's never easy to hit off somebody with that kind of stuff. But he said, you got to slow everything down. You got to use the whole field because, I mean, it's hard to generate bat speed when you throw close to 100 miles per hour with good breaking balls and changeups.
Yeah, and he's hardly walked anybody in 3 of his 4 starts, so he's around the plate. He'll have a chance to put the ball in play if you don't try to pull him.
But look at how efficient he is today. On a hot day like that, he's at 54 pitches, right on track with some about 13 pitch innings on average.
Lugo ran into his zone, check swing, little bouncer, first time up, called out. He'll flare this one out beyond second, but Adam Kennedy is there. And the Orioles will get a run in the 4th on Adam Jones, just getting enough of it. Probably hit the ball about 370 feet, and the O's are on the board. Never before. Ford, drive one. And by H.H. Gregg. We make buying TVs and appliances simple. H.H. Gregg. Price and advice guaranteed. Second consecutive game, Mark Hendrickson leaves the Orioles bullpen and goes to the mound in the 5th inning. This time to start the inning after a very fine settled down job here last night.
Yeah, there are the total numbers. Of course, he will tell you, we told you last night, he just turned 36. He doesn't want to be coming into these games when you're trailing by 5 or 6 runs, which he's done. But he did settle everything down because he's a pitcher. He's not overpowering, doesn't really get lefties out. They hit over 300, same with righties. But again, he, two-seamer, probably threw a little bit harder last night. Great changeup and the big swooping curveball. And he's deceptive because he's 6'9".
A big guy who's never really thrown that hard. And he drops a breaking ball in on Adam Dunn, who's 1 for 2 today, and as Rob mentioned, after his hit last time, 6 RBIs in the series, and now he's on the verge of breaking into the top 10 in the National League in that category. He's having an all-star first half.
And what we saw him do last night for Henderson, I mean, he turned the ball over a little bit to the lefties because all the good left-handed hitters, whether it's Adam Dunn or whether it was Paul O'Neill or Mattingly or guys just through the years, they cover the outside corner. So that two-seamer, they roll over, can't quite get to it.
That bat didn't die a hero right there. He throws it back. Well, we were talking about guys in your era that played with the 44-ounce bats. Adam asked a great question. Why? Why did they play with the heavier bats than the?
Well, I don't know about 44, but Frank Robinson used the 30.
Dick Allen.
Yeah, well, yeah, but Frank used.
All right, Frank.
Yeah, he what?
40. We'll say 40 ounces.
Well, he used 36. I think 35 inches, 36 ounces.
Adam Dunn on an off-speed pitch strikes out. 83rd strikeout of the year for Dunn.
Take another look again. Finesse pitcher. A little change up.
Yep. Turn it over just like you said. The UPS store. Pitch Track is packaged by the UPS store. We do a lot more than shipping, like offering moving boxes and supplies.
I don't think Josh Willingham's had too many games this year where he's had 2 infield hits. That's the case today. He's now 9 for his last 21, so coming out of what was about a week-long skid. Another off-speed pitch, bounced to Tejada. All those years at shortstop make that a pretty easy throw for him. June's a great month to check out the Nationals' future with that single-A ball club down in Woodbridge, the Potomac Nationals. Dollar drink specials on Thursdays, fireworks after every Saturday home game, and after every weekend game, kids run the bases. 703-590-2311 or PotomacNationals.com.
Woodbridge. Yeah.
Right down the road.
Yep, on the way to Florida.
Well, the guy stepping in right now played 1 game down there before his start with Strasburg the following night, Pudge Rodriguez.
Hey, he hurt his back on that swing in the Orioles
Yes, he did.
Series.
And of course, Potomac, that's the old Prince William club. That's what they were called for many years.
Well, and Amber Harris, she told that story about Tejada and Ivan sharing that trainer, and now he's gone with Ivan Rodriguez, and every morning, whether I'm on the road or wherever, he's working out with the trainer, and that guy had to help him rehab that back and get him back as quickly as possible. So it also helps to be able to hire somebody like that to travel around with you.
Yeah, but there's nothing more depressing as an announcer to go work out, and a guy who played 9 innings the night before beat you to the workout room.
Well, work ethic, important part of, having a major league career, especially a Hall of Fame caliber career.
Outs are coming quickly for both pitchers. Hendrickson throws a 1-2-3, top of the 5th. Is Turris for the Orioles, then the top of the order coming up. It's 5-1 Washington.
Medina, great at bat, the drive and a run, and then Adam Jones with his 12th home run of the year to get the Orioles on the board, 5-1. Once again, the Nats with an early lead.
Adam Dunn did 3 things with that swing. Drove in 2, added 2 total bases onto his total, which leads the National League to give him 151. And he added an extra base hit, and he leads the league in that category with 41. One behind Vernon Wells for the Major League lead.
Have they ever talked about re-signing?
Oh, there have been chats. I think there's been some contact made there.
He's just so valuable and so dangerous a weapon in the middle of that lineup.
Well, wouldn't you think that Levon and especially Steven Strasburg, would say, I want the big guy around.
I think the one thing that'll keep him in Washington, Jim, it would be impossible for him to walk away from those massive video blocks he does every week.
Oh, really?
With Bob. That's huge. Well, a few with me, but mostly with Jen Roy.
Well, they didn't want me to ask him questions. I would have got to the dirt.
Well, there is a time limit on those.
Trying to say I ask long questions? I'm long-winded?
I'll just tell you, the Caesar's Tourist leads off, bottom 5. 1 ball, 1 strike. Up the middle, well hit, and the number 9 man's on. Now, twice today, Washington has put the 9th man on leading off, and it's paid off in some scoring innings, so we'll see how the Orioles handle that with Corey Patterson coming out.
It's a matter of getting a good pitch to hit, and it's a matter of Levon throwing you one to hit. And when he does, he's hittable, and when he doesn't,
I'm sure the 9-hole hitter appreciated the change-up first pitch right there, and he drove that quickly up the middle.
Corey Patterson's gone up the middle twice for a base hit, and the other time Kennedy grabbed his ground ball and threw him out.
And you would think now that Corey's going to try to look for a ball and hit it by the first baseman into right field. Nope.
Corey tried to bunt.
Well, he bunted a ball.
Looked like it tailed outside.
Yep.
Corey Patterson actually with the Nationals for a short time.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of people, when you have a left-handed hitter, man on first, they go, you never throw changeups. Well, you can throw changeups. You can't locate them down and in and let them pull it by the first baseman. You still want them to try to roll over, get them out in front. That's what you try to do with hitters.
Patterson serves it to left. That ball's going to advance. Everybody up 2 bases. Second and third, nobody out. On a little flare right down the line. Some good hitting approaches by the Orioles here.
You got to think, and if Juan
doubled up on 2 sinkers in a row. The UPS store here on the pitch track, and the second one, that's a guy that's learned over the years through trial and error of trying to pull that pitch.
Yeah, it's almost like they said, hey, you can't throw it by us. We better, cover that outside corner. And you and I know.
Yeah, we know
that when you make that pitch, sometimes it's a great pitch, but the hitter just has a better approach. Well, nobody plays there.
When Levon's really going good, he doesn't back up pitches too often. I mean, he may throw that really slow curveball twice, but you throw a couple of sinkers right there, and Patterson loves to hit the ball out of the park, but he's supposed to be a contact guy and a leadoff guy.
Tejada goes the other way. Bernardina charges. They're not going to challenge that arm with nobody out. And the Orioles have 3 consecutive hits. It's now a 5-2 game.
That's exactly what the Giants did to him in San Francisco. They just started taking everything the other way.
And you remember what started that? A hit by the number 9 guy who happened to be the pitcher.
And right here, you keep going away, and these guys are seasoned major leaguers. This is the 3rd time through the batting order. And they've made the change. We're going to go the other way, and you have to make the change as a pitcher. Now you got to start whatever you can throw inside on them. You got to do it now.
Still nobody out. First and third. Markakis 0 for 2. Fly ball to center. Fly ball to left.
Yeah, this is a guy you really need to start driving the ball. The first time when runners at first and second couldn't advance them, as you mentioned, Rob.
Yep.
Right here you got a huge hole. That first and third just sitting there. We all know if you've watched Markakis hit, great ability to drive the ball the other way. But every once in a while, you got to go, hey, you know what? He can't throw the ball by me. I'm going to hit a ball in the right field. Keep this merry-go-round going.
You called the play before it happened. 5-3 now.
Yeah, well, again, if you don't execute your pitches, and Levon, everybody knows that he's going to throw in the middle 80s, but he's going to get you out with staying out of the middle of the plate. All of a sudden, this inning, almost every ball pretty hittable.
No, that was a 2-seam fastball that he runs back over the plate. So nice job by Markakis, staying in there, hanging in there long enough. And as you said, Jim Palmer, pull that ball to the right side because you can. He can't throw it by you, and you got to have that kind of attitude.
Bullpen scrambling. Tyler Walker's already thrown 3 warm-up pitches, and Steve McCaddy will go to the mound to buy some time.
Wow, it's a worst-case scenario. You build another comfortable lead. You're up 5-0, and now you're going to give it all back.
8 hits for the Orioles, make it 9 with 4 in a row in this inning. Levon had scattered those base hits up until this point.
Well, it doesn't mean he can't throw an 86-mile-an-hour fastball up and in on righties and or lefties. You just can't keep trying to get ground balls. You got to sometimes challenge guys upstairs, and they'll make mistakes. They'll pop it up. They'll try to pull an outside fastball that's up in the zone for a ground ball double play, but you're just throwing it over the plate. Now they're just whacking it the other way on you.
Yeah, and it's a pretty good matchup for Levon because Luke Scott, a better fastball hitter, doesn't mean he can't hit a curveball. And of course, he got the one number that we showed you in the graphic, 127 when runners in scoring position. So he's a very anxious hitter. And this is right now, if you're hitting for the Orioles, you want to be patient.
Tying runs on base at first. Levon does not get the call on the fastball away. Scott 0 for 2. A called third strike, a bouncer to Adam Dunn.
And of course, if you do make a mistake, Luke Scott's the type of guy that with one swing, because he is the strongest Oriole. I mean, nobody has more brute strength than Luke. See, and I always thought that when you have a big lead, sometimes it's more pressure than, when it's a 1 or 2 run lead, because you figure, boy, not that I'm going to aim the ball. He's been around, 430 starts. It's just that, hey, I don't want to blow this lead. I don't want to do that. And
you throw too many hittable pitches. Yep. But remember, he just keeps trying to pound the strike zone down, down, down. He hadn't thrown one pitch chest high. He knocked somebody off the plate. I don't care if you throw 80. Throw one right in his armpits.
8 of his 11 homers against right-handers. That's a slider. Down and in, 3-0.
So again, they're not going to fight on that.
Well,
they can't hit it, so they're not going to swing at it.
Well, and what they're doing is because he's now behind instead of ahead, they can lay off those pitches.
McCaddy finding out if Walker's ready with Adam Jones coming up. Burnett has joined him.
Get me over slider in a fastball count. Smart pitch. And it's even smarter because he was able to execute it. So if you'll do it 3-0, if you're Luke Scott, you have no idea what he's going to throw. But you still have the luxury of looking for your pitch till you get the 2 and strike.
Backdoor slider.
Yep.
Well, if he's going to do a 3-0 and 3-1, he's going to definitely do a 3-2 on you.
Well, Levon's certainly not predictable. I mean, the scoreboard tells you maybe a little bit differently in this inning because the Orioles have had some good at-bats, but if you're Luke Scott, you have no idea what he's going to throw.
But once again, it shows the importance of pitching inside. If you continually go away, they start leaning over the plate to cover the outside portion of the plate, and until you knock them back off the plate, they're not going to leave. He's just going to keep hanging over the plate.
Payoff pitch with nobody out, 2 men aboard.
Yep. Emergency hack. Well, that's a perfect example. 84-mile-per-hour fastball. He made a good pitch. There's your up and in. He struck him out the last time on a ball that ran back off the inside plate. But Luke's just saying, I'm going to hit flat-footed. I want to put the ball in play. I don't want to strike out. Maybe I'll get lucky.
Well, now you still want to try to move the runners, if anything. Get them to second and third with 1 out. But with no outs first and second, you're trying to still move these guys up the base.
There's that swing back fastball.
That was right there.
He threw it at the right shoulder of the hitter, a little higher than he usually does.
This is classic Levon Hernandez UPS store here on the pitch track. 2-seam, throw it at the hip, runs back over the corner part of the plate inside.
Levon Hernandez, 4th strikeout, 3 of them called third strikes. And here's Adam Jones, who hit the homer last time up.
What a great pitch.
And he didn't get those arms all the way extended, did he? Still managed to get the ball out of the park.
No, but he's got some tremendous bat speed.
Yeah, quick hands. He gets the bat through there quick. You don't need to be strong. You just need to be quick.
19 homers all of last year, 12 now here. And he extended his hitting streak to 7 games with that hit. He's 13 for his last 28.
And the Orioles going retro with the black with the orange stripe on them today. They got some cool shoes on, too. Well, we know you had the underwear contract. Did you have a shoe contract back in the day?
Oh, yeah. Adidas, the only one.
Adidas?
I had rather large feet.
How big were your feet?
14. So they fit comfortably. Nike said, well, we'll give you a cruise, $10,000, wear our shoes. I wore them on the bench one day in Anaheim. And I go, can't give me enough money. I mean, I got blisters just sitting there. And not nothing against Nike.
Right, but for you with the big feet.
Yeah.
That's on the corner.
See, now, well, there's your...
Those are the same pitches he just threw Scott.
Yeah, that's an ample strike right there. That ball's a little bit off the plate.
UPS store again on the pitch track, and there you see it.
I mean, that's just too far outside. Luke's came back at least to our pitch.
Reasonable.
Caught the outside, caught the inside corner.
1-2. Why wouldn't you stay out there now?
Well, why would you either go?
I'd go farther.
Yeah,
I'd go farther out.
Fastball out that way.
Yeah.
Well, you could see everybody has slowed down the process. I'm sure they've said, "Hey, make him throw the ball by you," and you could see in the approach all inning. So again, 86 gets by you because you're looking, you're looking for the cutter, you're looking for the changeup, you're trying to slow everything down a little bit, and that's easy to do until you get the 2 strikes. When you get the 2 strikes, all of a sudden you can't afford to take that, especially with the strike zone. You can't afford to take that close pitch because good chance it's going to be a strike.
Well, a ground ball in this situation, too, you don't have to try to force a double play because Adams got great speed. He can get down that line, just get it out here.
He's hit into 8 double plays this year, but that's probably due to the sharpness with which he hits the ball.
Well, early in the year, he didn't run a couple of balls out, and I think Dave Tremblay, who was the manager at the time, made it perfectly clear that's unacceptable.
Now, see his bat right here?
Yeah.
See the bat where there's that mark on it? That's to show the umpire how the grains go. That's a new rule that Major League Baseball has put in on these maple bats, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page and that the grains go the length of the bat.
1-2 had him reaching again.
So a lot of the testing they've done on bats, they've had a few different rule changes, and that's one of them. They need to show the umpire with those black lacquer and two-tone bats what kind of grain you got going on inside there.
So then get ready to duck when the bat splinters?
Yeah. Well, it's for safety. I mean, those maple bats and the ash bats, they're so top-heavy.
There's the super slow one, and he somehow got a piece of it.
Levon takes his glove off.
Now, Jim, I'm not sure about the speed limit in Maryland, but in Washington or Virginia, you don't even get pulled over for that.
This is the Exmo, and you see that...
well, you saw everybody. You saw Zimmerman trying to get his feet into position at third.
Actually, that was at regular speed. How slow the pitch was. That one was up there.
Well, Boog Powell at the luncheon today, we're talking about Mike Cuellar, who has passed away, but won 24 games in 1970, and he said, Mike would throw the ball so slow, and the guys would take silly swings. The bat speed would be about 8 miles per hour because they'd be fooled.
And he laughed.
Yep, and Levon can do that to you.
Had him reaching again. Zimmerman on the charge. Nobody plays better third base on that particular play than Zimmerman. He's at his best when he's running straight in.
Well, it's all about concentration, and he knows I got to get myself into position to make this quick throw. So watch how he turns his body. Gets his body going one way, turns it so he can get underneath on the throw. See him turn right there at the end, and he gets that quick little flick of the wrist.
Second and third, 2 outs now, and it's up to Matt Wieters to see how big this inning will be for the Orioles.
I had a scout just tell me that. He says he throws like that because he's unsure. I said, unsure of what? He said he's got a great arm. He, 98 out of 100 times he's perfect with the throws. And you're getting on it. There was one game he made 2 throwing errors at second base, and both of those were ridiculous plays going towards the line.
The only throw Zimmerman has a problem with is when he has too much time.
Don't they all?
Yeah, that's when your footwork really, that little crow hop where 2 or 3 comes in to play.
On the move, he's outstanding. 1-0 to Wieters, 1 for 2 with the base hit to right. Target away. Instead, he misses his spot. That's going to cost him 2 runs and the lead. Pudge Rodriguez was set up away, and that's not where the pitch was.
Well, a nice quick bat. I think a lot of people saying, well, Matt's bat has been very slow, at least over the last 5-6 weeks. Quickened up right there. I mean, there's your target you talked about, Bob. I mean, that's just a cutter that comes in. He reacts to it, only hitting 200 with runners in scoring position. So for the Orioles, this is what they like to see. Young catcher. It's going to be his first full year trying to make adjustments. Got a good pitch to hit, didn't miss it. But it was a very hittable pitch.
Yeah, but once again, 6-0 yesterday, 5-0 today, and neither pitcher is able to hold the lead. And it's not acceptable at this level.
And if this were the National League, this would be his last inning, probably due to bat in the 6th and pulled out of the game. But the Nats have not done a good job against the Orioles, who, as Jim Hunter mentioned earlier, came in with the fewest runs in the American League yesterday and the second fewest to Seattle today.
Well, you talk about looking like the 1970 Orioles the last 2 days. This Orioles team has.
1 ball, 1 strike to Scott Moore. Singled opposite field last time. He's 1 for 2. The winner of this game today will take the lead in the all-time Battle of the Beltways ledger, 15-14. 28 ball games between these two, and they're dead even. Levon tried to swing that one back, and he misses. 2-1.
Well, they struck him out with breaking balls and change-ups the first time, and then Scott Moore made a nice adjustment, poked one into left.
This next pitch will be number 28 in the inning.
And he threw only 56 in the first 4. That ball hugging the line. Adam Dunn comes and gets it. Nowhere for the runner to go except into the tag. Big inning for the Orioles. 4 runs on 5 hits. 5 of them singles. And after 5 innings here at Camden Yards, Baltimore's battle back to tie it up. We share. Things looking colonial on this Saturday afternoon. Top of the 6th inning, Bernardina, Kennedy, Desmond. And a little chocolate on the face will not deter.
Oh, yeah, look at that. He's got the baseball game hat Sunday.
Very nice.
Better eat it very quickly.
Roger Bernardina's hit the ball well twice. A line drive to center, RBI hit to left.
Well, there you go. The big, well done again. Another one of those afternoons.
But Josh Willingham, 2 for 3. We talked about when he hits over 300, 350, this team wins some ball games. So now it's back to work for the 70 Senators.
Yeah, Bob Carpenter once again has evened it up.
Hunter and I will not be bragging about our ERAs this year for the opposing ball clubs. Chasing, and Tejada couldn't quite get there.
Well, much different angle from third base than that big circle you can take if you're at Shuras. So when he was playing shortstop, he'd be the guy making this play from shortstop. A little different on the straight line.
I think those after Camden Yards was built, they actually added those seats. So there's about
they pushed that wall out.
That's why that wall is out a little bit. Add like Fenway, where they keep adding seats. They haven't done it every year here, but Fenway every year there's more seats. Revenue.
So instead of like bringing Hendrickson in the 4th and 5th inning for the guys who can't go 7, why don't they just let Hendrickson start a few ball games?
Well, he did last year, and he actually pitched some games well. He was much better out of the bullpen because I think they set up their lineup, and kind of like with Bergeson, for him, as we mentioned, he's going to have to be able to get lefties out to be successful as a starter.
He's made 166 career starts, one this year,
but he knows how to pitch, and I've never really asked him, did you ever throw hard? I didn't give him one of those.
Right.
But, it just seems to me he's always, and Mike Cuellar, the late Mike Cuellar worked with the Orioles 2 years ago, and he said, not a lot of arm speed, but he's a pitcher. And I think he realizes that's what I need to do.
Well, I mean, if he's able to throw 2-3 days in a row effortlessly, obviously he's got a good arm. It reminds me a lot of a Jamie Moyer. He's just a 6'9" version. And you have to pitch. You have to know how to pitch. Just like Livan Hernandez.
Well, he looks like Steve Carlton. He looks like Steve Carlton compared to Jamie. If you want to drag fastballs.
3-2 to Bernardina. Off-speed pitch, and that one gobbled up by Julio Lugo. 6th inning underway. I think the other thing about Mark Hendrickson, he doesn't appear to be because he's so calm out there. He's a very fierce competitor.
Yeah.
His college basketball coach, Kelvin Sampson, who coached him at Washington State, told me that he was one of the best rebounders he ever coached. In the Pac-10, he was a fierce competitor and a very good guy on the glass.
And how do you think he did that? Screening guys out, making sure he's blocking guys out because he figured it out. And that's what he's done as a pitcher.
Yeah.
That for him, and when he started last year, a little bit of back problems. So when you're 6'9", and he's got to be able to get over that front side and get the ball down because he's not that overpowering.
Adam Kennedy 0 for 2 with the ball in the air twice.
But there's still a lot of tilt and a lot of angles from 6'9". So whether he's throwing a changeup or breaking ball, you're up that high. You're throwing downward on the hitter. You still have a 10-inch lead there.
Yeah, look how he uses that right knee to cushion himself and get over and bring everything down in the strike zone.
Well, and you threw off both mounts, 15-inch and 10 inches. Did it make a difference? Did you see or feel the difference?
Well, I was really so young when I pitched.
Off the
I was
15-inch
hurt in 67 and 68. And that's when they made the change. Gibson, of course, had the 112 ERA. Denny McLean won 31 games. League average ERA went down dramatically. I think Tion had a 165. All those guys have good pitch, but that's, again, in 69 when I came back, that's when the mound went from 12 inches to 10. If you're tall, if you want to get the ball down, you just got to figure out a way to get the stride short enough to be able to do what he just did, which is to be able to finish your pitches. And again, what we were talking last night,
Arrieta.
It's the Ferris wheel versus being around everything like a merry-go-round.
It looks like Arrieta's really overstride. Tim Lincecum, he does that.
There's been a momentum shift here. Orioles are getting some base hits. They've tied the game. And Scott Moore takes a base hit away from Ian Desmond. 5-5, middle of the 6th. That's the Hit It Here sign located out in the bullpen. Frederick Donovan wins $100,000. To find out more about how you can become the fan of the game, visit mdlottery.com/hitithere.
I think I could hit it there if I had a golf club and a golf ball.
I think those two young gentlemen will be arguing for decades and decades about this Battle of the Beltways.
Well, hopefully that'll be the case. Both franchises will get back on track.
Livan Hernandez, 85th pitch of the day, and it's a strike to Lugo.
And we'll see each other in October.
Livan Hernandez has now given up 6 hits to the last 9 batters he faced.
And, all of us up here know exactly what Steve McCaddy, the pitching coach, and Jim Riggleman are thinking is that, all of a sudden everything is filtered back into the middle of the plate, and you just can't pitch that way when you're not overpowering.
No, and you went to the bullpen early last night. You still got another game to play in this series, then moved to Atlanta. And it's a question of how much longer do you want to leave him out there, but he's got to suck up a few innings here.
The good news is Slayton pitched the third, Batista an inning.
Oh, they're all available except for Clipper today, Riggleman said before the game. Sean Burnett, situational appearance last night, didn't get the job done. Slayton had earlier, but the Nationals used 3 different pitchers in 1 inning last night. Bunted in the air, that'll be easy for Pudge Rodriguez.
Wow. There's a gift.
Well, I don't know. He may have had the bunt. I can't imagine that, in the 6th inning. But, Cesar, he should be bunting maybe once or twice a game for base hits.
Did you see Pudge look down and see where
he was going to look about dropping the ball?
I think he considered dropping this ball if it was fair, but it was a foul ball.
Yeah, with that spin, you can't do it. But if it's a little bit farther out and the guy doesn't run, which is, I guess, the point to be taken
right
there.
They sure should have run that ball out
because he'll be taking the force at second, and he'll turn the double play in a hurry.
Top of the order, Corey Patterson, 2 for 3. His hit pattern tells you what you need to know about him today. Single up the middle, single down the left field line.
Well, his last at bat, he went to left field, and first pitch by Livan out to the left side. So he's going to have to come in there eventually on Patterson to try to get him out.
Every spot in the lineup with at least a hit except for the DH, Luke Scott.
Yeah, you don't run on him very much, do you? They've only attempted 6 times, only been successful 2.
And that's interesting because his stuff to the plate is so slow, but he does a great job of keeping runners near that bat.
And he's also got one of those little jump moves, which is supposed to be a balk, but
he has been called for that.
Has he? Yeah.
That's out to left center. Niger Morgan will just cruise over and grab it for the second out.
No, Livan does everything well.
Well, good hitter too.
Good hitter, good fielder, fields his position very well. Does all the PFP and fundamental things, getting over covering first base, backing up bases. So it's just a matter of sometimes he runs out of stuff.
Now it's Tejada, who's gone the other way twice. Only time he pulled the ball was an out to short. The 2 times he's gone the opposite way, base hits.
Well, and if he can get Tejada here, what a difference it makes when a guy pops up a bunt attempt instead of you give up the leadoff single and get in trouble.
Yeah, you got to be real careful of getting a cutter in the middle of the plate because that will speed up Tejada's bat. And I always think here, I'm thinking, okay, good hitter at the plate. Went 206 at bats without a home run. I'm not giving him a pitch he can drive. Even if he pings a single to right field, it doesn't bother me.
Out of play, right side.
.90 pitches. It was warm on the field. Again, you made a great point.
I was down there.
Really that hot? It's just very humid. Yeah.
I went down there for batting practice for 10 minutes and I was soaked.
Hernandez getting close to the 100 inning mark on the year. He'd have to go 7 1/3 today to do that. Nobody else on the staff really close, although there's one kid who's been around for 4 starts who won't take too long to get there. Kevin Millwood, the lone Oriole at that level. And there's the one hopper to Adam Dunn. And Levon Hernandez, despite the leadoff single, has a good bounce back inning. Top of the order for Washington in a 5-5 game. At ChevyDealer.com. Wow, it's even got mustard.
Yeah, that guy's such a hot dog.
He even has the tablecloth, the checkered tablecloth. I like it. Top of the seventh, the big question is, when are the Nats going to do anything against the soft-tossing Mark Hendrickson? He's now pitched 3 2/3 innings of scoreless relief in this series, and the only man who has a base hit against him is standing in the batter's box, Niger Morgan. And he's got 2. Even if Lugo reaches that one, would have been a hit. And the Nationals have their first base hit since Ian Desmond's leadoff single back in the 4th. Niger Morgan's having a good series.
Oh, is he ever?
He's 5 out of 7 with 2 sacrifice bunts in these 2 games.
Yeah, I think if your Juan Samuel is coming to the mound, you're happy that finally, have been swinging away every at bat.
Jason Birkin on the way. Guzman is much better from the right side of the plate, so that's as much a reason for this move as anything. And then Zimmerman coming up after him. highlights and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles and Nationals. Bob Carpenter, Rob Dibble, Jim Palmer, Jim Hunter on the way for the 8th. But right now here in the 7th, Jason Birkin will take over to face Christian Guzman to keep him hitting from the left side of the plate, where there's a big difference in his batting average this year, more than 100 points.
Yeah, but it does set up the running game. And, of course, Birkin, he does get lefties out. I mean, they're only hitting 10 for 53, 189. Righties hitting a little bit better, 271. But he's having a great year. Starter last year, 6-12, 6.50 ERA. He has found a home in the bullpen. But what's kind of interesting is that Henderson doesn't get lefties out. They let him face him, even though Birkin's better against the left-hander. But this is a track meet time right here.
Morgan had a pretty good lead, and it really took a headlong dive to get back in.
Well, and this is where we talked. This is when you might need a stolen base, but right here you just let it play out and hopefully do maybe a hit and run and not get picked off first.
Well, this is when, we were talking about the reunion weekend, and Boog Powell was a terrific first baseman. He'd be yelling if he got too big a lead. Just make sure. Now, it's a running situation if you watch the game. And again, you're just trying to measure his lead. Just hold the ball a little bit to see if he gives himself away. I'm trying to keep him from getting a running lead, and throws it away. He got very lucky there. Good throw, might have had him.
Well, and if you show when he gets out there on his lead, if he gets that left foot past that cut of the grass, then you have to throw over.
He's been just getting the right foot past that.
If he gets both feet by that right there, then you got to throw over. Now he's got half his body over that. His right foot's past that little cutout. But if he gets that left foot a little bit more, you got to throw over there. You see how he's cheating? He gets the right foot past it. He's trying to get one more step here before he has to dive back.
Runner holding. Guzman shows bunt. That got Tejada on the move from third, and it's ball one.
Well, he got a bunt base, or Guzman didn't, but Niger did last night. And this, it's funny when you're out on the infield today when we threw out the first pitches. I know our hitting instructor always talks about how soft it is, but it's a very spongy infield. So if you put a good bunt down and you're not playing in, you're not going to be able to throw anybody out. Ball's going to die.
And at Nationals Park around home plate is rock hard.
Yeah, well,
we've seen guys hit in front of home plate. The ball bounces all the way past second base. So they get a lot of hits off of in front of the home plate.
Well, that'll change now that Steven Strasburg's around.
Wet it down a little bit.
Yeah, good call. That's a good dragger by Guzman. Second baseman covering. 1-4 on the sacrifice. 3-4, pardon me. And Niger Morgan to second base with one out. Nationals have bunted well today.
Yes, they have. They've done a lot of things fundamentally sound right there. You're not bunting for a base hit, but he loves to go to the right side of the infield just in case he can run past somebody trying to field that and go to first base. So great job by Lugo covering first base.
Boy, it's so foreign when you see a National League club it and give you outs as they've done. It's 3 outs they've given the Orioles because in the American League with the DH, even though obviously the Nationals have it, you don't play for one run in the 7th inning, even though obviously, Jim Riggleman, he runs a ball club, or he thinks his bullpen's good enough to hold up a number. It's a smart play. But over here, boy, those are like gifts.
Both clubs good in this department today. I'm not sure I've ever seen Christian Guzman after 4 plate appearances 0 for 1 because he never walks. He got hit by a pitch, sac fly, and a sacrifice bunt today. He sets up Zimmerman, who's 1 for 2 with an infield hit following a walk. Ryan's been on a real RBI drought, been sitting on 37 for a while.
Yeah, well, Ullman, he would, I would imagine, be, because he's a left-handed specialist, he's out there for Adam Dunn, who's on deck. You can tell whether Birkin is on his game because he will finish his pitches, and the ball, because he can throw close to 95, the ball will finish down in the zone with good late life.
Zimmerman hit a home run 2 weeks ago today at Cleveland. They only run in a 7-1 loss. Since then, 2 RBIs. That's a breaking ball, low and away.
See, that's a good take. Even though you're struggling a little bit, for him, it's not been a great month. What, he's hitting 250 with a couple home runs you talked about. But if you take that pitch, the count goes 2-0. You swing at it. It's a pitcher's pitch. It's the kind of the process of getting back when you're starting to hit well. when you get
a front door breaking ball right there. Well, and we've watched Ryan and Bob's watched him a lot longer than I have on a day-to-day basis. But even going back last year, when he's on top of his game, his head is very still. He lets the ball come to him.
And everything goes to right center.
Right. And when he starts jumping towards the ball to try to get at it and he's a little over anxious, he jams himself a lot.
That's a take on a pitch up and away. Fastball didn't miss by much.
That's a good heater right there. Tough to lay off that high fastball.
Well, I think that was the big mystery last year. And again, of course, a young pitcher first year in the big leagues, when you go 6 and 12, giving up 6.5 runs a game, you just haven't pitched well. Now, the team was on the way to only winning 64 games, so not a lot of run support. But he throws the ball better than his record indicates.
Oof. He's got a good touch in that breaking ball right now.
Well, I'm not sure you want to keep throwing hanging sliders and fastball counts, because eventually, of course, if you see enough, a guy
double a couple of those up.
Yeah. Well, it is effective, but if you throw another one now, all bets are off 3 and 2, because he can't be as selective. He's just looking for the ball, trying to cover the whole plate.
Orioles have Zimmerman slightly bunched toward the gap in right center. Blinding speed at second base in Morgan. A base hit would have to be a one-hopper at an outfielder for them to have a shot to throw him out. That ball off the end of the bat isn't going anywhere. Patterson coming in for it. Out number 2.
Got away with another slider on the inside middle of the plate.
It'll be Adam Dunn now, and interesting situation. Right-hander on deck, first base open here.
They're going to put him on.
They might just go ahead and walk him the way Adam Dunn's been hurting the Orioles with 6 RBIs in a game and a half here.
Well, the amazing
Weeders
thing,
just called for 4 balls here. He's going to walk.
Even though if you would bring in Ullman, Perkin actually lefties are only hitting 189.
Ooh. Not a given you can just find the catcher on these.
Well, I always thought uncomfortable. I didn't do that often. I didn't like to put guys on base. But again, you got to come to a set position. You work on it in spring training. Every day for about a month out of the 6 or 7 weeks, but it's just different.
It'll be first and second, 2 outs for Willingham. And there's ball 4. Rick Kranitz on his way to the mound to discuss this right-handed hitter. Pretty much a Deadpool guy.
Middle in. Looking everything from the middle of the plate back to him. And if you throw it in there, he can crush it.
Well, yeah, as we mentioned last night, the Orioles certainly know that, because Willingham with great numbers. A couple of home runs in the weekend series in Washington earlier on.
But he's been very patient this year. He won't go fishing for a lot of bad balls, whereas last year, and we talked about this last night, is the fact that he knows he's getting his 500, 600 at-bats this year. He doesn't have to press every at-bat to give you a great at-bat. He'll just be patient, let you come to him, and pick and choose how to snipe.
That's why he's third in the league in walks with 46, and third in on-base percentage at 406 coming in. He's been waging a battle almost all season long with Albert Pujols as the best on-base guy in the National League. Joey Votto of Cincinnati is in on that now. And here's a 1-0 coming to Willingham, who has 2 base hits today. Morgan's running. That ball skied down the left field line. Foul ground, and the top of the 7th is over. Nationals have stranded 6, so have the Orioles. Time to stretch in a 5-5 game. in the third, a run in the fourth, and since then it's all Orioles as they put a run on the board in the fourth inning and then had that 4-run fifth, highlighted by RBI singles, Tejada, Markakis, Wieters. And a 5-5 game as the bottom of the seventh rolls around. Nick Markakis, Luke Scott, Adam Jones, and Sean Burnett will face them. Livan Hernandez, 92 pitches going 6 innings.
Pretty good numbers. Came in last night, gave up 1 hit, didn't record enough.
Better lately against right-handers, Rob. It was a struggle for him early.
Well, and the thing is with Sean, the more you use him, the better breaking ball he has. But the bottom line for him is getting ahead. Getting ahead so you can get to your off-speed and secondary stuff. And he's done a much better job of that lately, getting ahead in the count.
In many ways, a typical Livan Hernandez appearance, although more hits than usual, 11 of them in 6 innings. He did manage to scatter those hits with the exception of the fifth.
So how about those numbers? Markakis, he's only hitting .380 against left-handed pitching, so this is not exactly
a great matchup here for Burnett. But, you know, John Lannon, something hopefully he's working on down low is working on the sweeping breaking ball, the lefties.
And Sean Burnett throws a strike at the knees. Markakis, RBI hit last time.
Yeah, look at those numbers.
See, and that he should be hitting righties a lot better than 269. That's a pretty good pitch.
I used to talk to Paul O'Neill, and I said, how did you learn how to hit the lefties? He won a batting title 5 straight years, hitting over 300 for the Yankees. And he said, well, Don Mattingly told me there's a lot of gold out in left field. And he said, the other thing is, he said, early in the count, you want to hit the slider that's at you because that will have more of the plate. That one you want to take. And then.
Well, there you saw the difference. That the first ball he threw, he started that at the center cut of the plate, and it went way off the plate. This time he throws it at Markakis, and it comes over for a strike. So see that across the body mechanics right there.
Third base side of the rubber.
And the Jamie Moyer side.
So he starts on the third base side of the rubber, and his landing leg goes over by first base. Not like Ross Detweiler.
Yeah, you talk that. Well, he really throws across his body. We're going to have a chance. How's he doing, by the way?
Better. He's
so
on his
center. He starts over there, but he's going to finish right over there. And so it's very difficult to throw across your body.
That one sails way inside.
Very close.
And of course, the reason, like a finesse pitcher like Jamie Moyer, pitching into his late 40s, he moved over there to get that little better angle into the right hand.
Yes.
And then he's got the changeup and the two-seamer that goes away. So now, what will it be?
I'd throw him a breaking ball.
Sinking fastball low and inside for a leadoff walk. Luke Scott 0 for 3 coming up. Nationals would like you to celebrate your 4th of July weekend at the ballpark in D.C. Saturday the 3rd, Mets are in town. First 20,000 fans receive the free replica patriotic cap presented by Masson HD. Show your red, white, and blue and your curly W at the ballpark on Saturday, July 3rd. Luke Scott called out on strikes twice against Livan Hernandez today. Pulled the ball once, a grounder to first, and a first pitch breaking ball for a strike. Adam Dunn right in front of the runner. He does that on occasion. Double play ball. Can Kennedy turn it? It's got a long way to go. Safe.
Nice strike.
Because of Luke Scott, he was in a pole position, and that's a long way for a second baseman to go, stop, and make that relay.
Yeah, but the important thing about this is, number one, you get the lead runner. Because, you know, that...
well, you get an out.
Yeah, well, it does. And I used to look around at my second baseman because second basemen want to cheat in and over. You can see Scott hustling down the line, so he barely beats it. But if you come in too much and you go over, they hit the ball to your left. They get the ball into right field, and all of a sudden you have those easy innings where they get runners at first and third, fly ball, score runs. So it's better to get one than none and have the runner all the way at third base.
Well, and it's tough for Jim Riggleman. I mean, he's trying to get Sean Burnett right where he's getting lefties out more than he's getting righties out. But right here, three out of the four guys he could face in this inning are left-handed hitters. You got Wieters on deck, switch hitter, but.
And that's, of course, when you've hit 4 home runs in your last, under 30 at-bats, I'm not sure you want to be bunting in the tie ball game in the 7th inning. It's a good idea early on, but drive it, hit a gap. I mean, you've got to get some runs on the board.
Whoa. Right off the front screen of the dugout.
Well, we talk, we used to play a lot of the games here. Started at 4:35. And, of course, the pitching coaches loved them. Hitting instructors hated them because you get the twilight, and it's starting to come into effect now. Early on, it was pretty bright. Now you've got the shaft of light.
The pitcher's in the shadow, then there's some break with some sunlight, and then it's back into the shadows.
And then the tough field position, especially right field here, and a little bit of first base because of the sun.
That's a breaking ball that was hanging around outside. Jones went to get it, couldn't, and that's 2 outs.
Well, once again, he shows you why he's getting right-handers out. He backdoors a slider. H.H. Gregg here on the Exmo. And Adam can't reach out there and make contact.
A lot of late break on that breaking ball.
Matt Wieters, a good day. 2 for 3. He's added 2 RBIs to his total.
Well, maybe the break for Sean Burnett is that he's a switch hitter and he turns around from that left side.
You were reading my mind. I was wondering if left-handers would look at those numbers and
go, maybe I shouldn't turn around and hit right-handed off this guy.
Weren't there a couple of guys, I think, who hit left-handed against Tom Glavine? I think they did.
Well, I know that Pete Rose only did it with one guy. That was Randy Jones from San Diego.
Yeah, I saw him down in San Diego still doing some radio stuff for the Padres when we were in town last weekend.
He was the one who worked with Barry Zito growing up.
They were back-to-back Cy Youngs.
Yep.
5-5 ball game, bottom of the 7th. Wieters, a 2-run single last time up. Burnett keeping the ball away, missing the corner, 2-1.
Well, those who have seen it, they still talk about the home run that Matt Wieters hit to right center field in Tampa. It was about 440 to right center. And, of course, every time we go there, and Joe Madden would go, how's Wieters hitting? And I said, well, he's not in like that. Well, again, you make a mistake. I just see he's making adjustments, and I don't care what your signing bonus was, and I don't care what kind of number draft choice, you just have to adjust when you get to this level, and that's part of the process.
And I thought it was totally unfair. I hate when they take a rookie or even a guy who's coming up and compare him to an established player, the 2-time MVP and Joe Mauer. It's an unfair comparison. One guy's established, and you haven't had a chance to establish yourself and your reputation.
Well, that was my point today, that in the press conference after the luncheon, and I looked at Boone Powell and Frank and Brooks and Brooks Robinson and all, Davey Johnson, and we all had to make adjustments. That's part of the game.
It's every day you make adjustments.
And it makes you a better player because it makes you appreciate those adjustments and the little things you have to do to get better.
Up the middle with the runner going on a 3-2 pitch, and Luke Scott heads to third.
But the one thing about Matt Wieters, you mentioned it earlier, Rob, about slowing the ball down. He said, at the end of the day, you got to be able. Where's your bat head? So again, this is just a rocket back up the middle. Now look where the bat head is.
Yeah.
He's not overswinging, not diving out on his front foot.
No, he's just making contact. Yeah. You're bringing the bat up to hit the ball. You're not trying to uppercut and kill it and hit home runs because everybody wants you to be a home run hitter. The home runs will come. He's got 3 hits today, and he's looked nice and easy on every one of them. When Adam Dunn stopped trying to kill the ball, started hitting it all, spraying it all over the field, then the home runs started coming.
Ty Wigginton will hit for Scott Moore here. Wigginton only 2 pinch hitting appearances this year. That'll be a counter move now for Jim Riggleman. Drew Storen warming up. He appeared in the ball game last night and pitched an inning and a third scoreless. Drew Storen wasn't alive when those 1970 uniforms were in vogue, but here he comes. Against the rookie.
Well, what was impressive last night was his fastball and that breaking ball. And the other thing that impresses me, you look at the numbers, he's come in with, 9 inherited runners, only 1 has scored, which is exactly what this inning's about.
Well, and that run just scored. He had been 0 for 8.
Wind up better than we saw 3 weeks ago when he first came to the big leagues. You made a great point about maybe being a little hyperactive.
Yeah, he's starting to really come into his own now. I mean, he's still not even a year removed from college.
What I like, though, is the high stirrups. I mean, check out his stirrups on his socks. Yeah. Maybe you heard the fact I said he didn't look like he was 6'2", so he wants to be a little taller. Look at. I don't care how tall he is. He's got a great arm.
No, you got to meet. He's a great kid. He's one of my favorites. I got to do the winter caravan with him. I used to work with his old man, and he's just a great kid.
His son provides his father plenty of fodder for his radio talk show in Indianapolis.
Yep.
So Wigginton, who's had a little nagging back injury, of course, a great high ball hitter. I would think the slider would suffice. Well, there it is. He hangs it.
Yep. You don't want to put that up there too many times.
Well, it's funny sometimes when you're pitching, you know this as well as you hang a slider and it's up out of the zone, and then you throw the good one and you get him out, and the next time you hang one in the middle of the zone, and that's when you want to go timeout. But take 2. Let's do this over because the hitter is leaping with that type of pitch.
And he did it right there. Sometimes it's better, even though you're not trying to do it, to throw that back up slider and the guy misses it. You just don't want to make a habit out of there. You see that over-exaggerated turn of the front leg. He's got some real old-school looking spikes on today.
Orioles have runners at the corners with 2 outs. They've out-hit the Nationals 12-7. And there's a wild pitch that'll give Baltimore the lead. And even though it's the pitcher, you would have to classify that as a defensive mistake. That gives the Orioles another run in this series.
Yeah, 96 in the dirt.
Not a time to be overly amped. Scoring easily, Luke Scott. And, of course, this inning started with a leadoff walk to Markakis. Now they'll put Wigginton on and take their chances with Lugo. Two usually reliable right-handers from the Nats bullpen have made some mistakes in this series. Clippard last night for Jim Riggleman, and Drew Storn with the wild pitch today.
Well, it's so amazing when you watch this game, whether you play as we did or you watch it, you go, you know what? And I told Peter Angelos, who owns the Orioles, in 1993, I said, you get really good players that perform because Jim Riggleman knows exactly what he wants to do. He set up that whole game to bring in Tyler Clippard, and he didn't pitch well tonight.
And he's been the 8th inning guy all year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the responsibility you have of the player to try to do your best and try to do that. And the more often you can do it, the better your team will play. And the teams that do it day in and day out. And that's what I like about the Nats. I mean, they seem to have some core players. It's just trying to get everybody else on the page.
Well, sometimes it's not like they're not trying to do well. Sometimes you try to do too much, and that's when you fail to execute. And like you just said, being overamped, but you also have to know the outcome of a pass ball. And if you're going to throw a breaking ball, the catcher, you have to trust the catcher that he's going to stop it. But the catcher doesn't expect 96 in the dirt.
Nope.
Not with a guy on third. So I
think if he did, he would have tried to block it a little differently. Yeah. Plus, again, it's amazing. Sometimes we watch this game and you see a catcher get crossed up.
And plus, he's standing in the sun. Pudge is in the shade. It's tough to see, as the hitters have shown us.
And he's expecting something somewhere around the glove.
Yeah.
Is that a splitter?
No, that's his sinking fastball.
He's got a
great sinker. That's one of his best pitches.
Awfully good movement.
And he can rush it up there at 92, 93 on the sinker.
1 ball and 2 strikes to count. Lugo 1 for 3. Base hit up the middle last time.
Yeah, at least to this point, a little different breaking ball today than it was yesterday. He's able to stay closed a little bit better. And boy, when he gets on top of his slider, it's devastating.
And like you said, when you stay closed, you stay on top of it, it's a tighter slider, and it's a little bit more difficult for the hitter to lay off, and he swings through it.
Fastball under his hands, the hard sinker. Orioles take the lead on the wild pitch and on to the 8th inning. It'll be Rodriguez, Bernardina, Kennedy for Washington. Luke Scott rushing home to give the Orioles a 6-5 lead.
But you're under a lot of pressure.
I know.
Because
Bob Carpenter got all the runs.
You only gave up 5 runs. Bob gave up 6 runs. So, it's not you guys, but it's a question of playing 9 innings. And right now the Nationals seem to be winning the first 5 of the Battle of the Beltways, and the Orioles seem to be getting the last 4.5 innings and scoring a ton of runs and doing a lot of good things the 3rd and 4th time through the batting order. That's the key, is taking advantage of the opportunities. And the Orioles the last 2 days have done a great job of that.
And the Orioles all of a sudden have now picked up 10 or more base hits in 5 consecutive games. First time this year they've done that. And they're trying to win their 3rd in a row.
But what they're going to have to do is do what the bullpen did last night, which is shut him down. So Wigginton, he comes in, he gets intentionally walked after the wild pitch, and then goes down and plays first base. So can you get 6 outs before the Nats get a run?
That one's poked towards the hole. Diving stop by Lugo from his knees. He throws, and he got him. Julio Lugo takes a base hit away from Ivan Rodriguez, and Jim, there's one of those outs, one away.
Well, it is, and it looks like this is destined for right field. This is exactly what the Nats. You're looking into the sun. We told you about how right field, whether you're second baseman, first baseman, you can see the sun right there. Boy, we've seen some pretty. It's funny. We've seen shoddy defense here, wild pitches,
and we've seen some highlight reel defense.
Morgan's catch, one of the best ever in center field last night, and right there again, another quality play.
Juan Samuel out to the mound. Another outstanding effort by Jason Birkin, who now is the pitcher of record on the winning side. He will leave, and with the left-handers Bernardina and Kennedy due up, Will Oman will come into this game. So the Orioles took the lead in the 7th on a wild pitch, now trying to hold it in the 8th.
Him to face some right-handers, and again, righties hit him at 300, lefties at 190. So it doesn't mean he can't get him out, because when he's throwing the ball well and get anybody out, of course, Morse comes in and he's hitting 350 against left-handed pitching. So you got to like this matchup.
And Oman gets ahead, 0-1.
Yeah, the right-handers last night tried to get on Mike Morse's fist, and were able to do it on a couple of occasions. Lefties are a little different story.
Well, but it's tough. He's been playing sparingly, and the more he hits, the more playing time he's gotten, but he's still not an everyday player.
Yeah, we saw him when he came up with Seattle. Seems like he's got more power.
Well, he's got quicker hands.
Yeah.
Rick Eckstein, the hitting instructor for the Nationals, has worked on him when he was pinch hitting to get him prepared for a 95 to 100 mile an hour closer. So have him mentally thinking and visualizing his approach as quick hands through the zone, be able to catch up to the best closers in the league, and I think that's helped him at the plate.
Popped him up, down the line, Lugo over. He's taking charge, and he has it for the out. And 2 down in the Nationals' 8th inning. 2110 Utah Street, presented by Home Savings of America and Southwest Airlines, returns to Oriole Park tomorrow. The Birds will host the Nats 1:35, the finale of the series. And for one low price, fans get a reserved Utah Street bleacher seat, plus an exclusive 2110 Utah Street t-shirt. Nick and Adam also will toss baseballs into the crowd between innings, and fans can enjoy special promotions, prizes, and more. Space is limited, so get your tickets now, 888-848-BIRD, or online at Orioles.com. And another pinch hitter back-to-back, so here is Alberto Gonzalez. He will bat for Adam Kennedy to get another right-handed bat up.
Yeah, 409 hitter against left-handed pitching, even better than Morse.
Well, and he's a very solid fielder, and I would think that if the shoddy defense continues in the next week or two, that Alberto will be getting a few starts of his own in the middle infield positions. But he's been an excellent utility player, excellent pinch hitter.
That is a long foul. Time for our Chili's game flow. Chili's, it's all in the preparation. Well, the flow of this game has actually been 2 different flows. The Nationals had a real nice one going early, took a 5-0 lead, and the Orioles got a flow going of their own, tied it, and got the go-ahead run on a wild pitch. Joel Peralta is up in the bullpen again. This one's blooped out behind the bag. This Turris is there. And Will Oman does a very good job. Retires 2 batters. 3 up, 3 down. Go the Nats. We'll head to the bottom of the 8th in a 1-run game. So a couple of defensive changes following the pinch hitting appearances. There's Morse. He stays in the game in right field in place of Bernardina. And Alberto Gonzalez stays in the game for Adam Kennedy. And Joel Peralta comes on, guys. He will pitch here in the bottom of the 8th.
Yeah, just recently called up, as you were talking about, Rob, and pretty good down at Syracuse with 20 saves.
Yeah. He was their closer down here. Now he's just trying to break out of the bullpen. And Tyler Clifford wasn't available today. And so he's going to get a shot here to open some eyes. And 2 strikes his first outing.
What kind of stuff? I mean,
he's got good stuff. It's not above average. It's just he's been around a while. He throws strikes. Got a decent little wrinkle. Can go with about a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
The 0-1 to his Torres breaks in there for a strike.
Yeah, another Frankie Rodriguez type of windup. But again, you know, it's funny, when we first started, they taught almost everybody to just break your hands over your knees. And, of course, he'll almost get in that position right here. I mean, the knee's just going to come up. Looks like he would hide the ball pretty well.
Jams Asturis, and he pops it up to second base, so Gonzalez gets a play immediately. One away in the Oriole 8th. Don't forget, tomorrow, first 20,000 fans 15 and over receive a replica throwback 1970 Orioles cap presented by DAP. And all kids 14 and under will have a chance to run the bases following the game. Those and that's at 1:35, the finale at 3. So get the family together. Come on down. A great day at Camden Yards, 888-848-BIRD, or just get online at Orioles.com.
And, of course, if Peralta comes in and throws the first pitch for a strike, a tight breaking ball, and then 93 in on the hands, just about any manager in baseball would like him.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, this is his shot. And, you know, the bullpen has been in almost every game this season. And that's, you know, you have one complete game as a staff. You only are getting 18, 21 outs out of your starting rotation. The last 6 and 9 outs almost every night has to go to the bullpen. Eventually they're going to fold, and last night that was the case.
Corey Patterson has a 2-hit game. Fisted foul the other way. It's 0-2.
Yeah, Peralta, who was up with the Angels all the way back in 2005, Kansas City for on and off 6, 7, and 8, but last year struggled with Colorado, but was very good down at their AAA affiliate. And a Colorado Springs 6-0 with a 2.45 ERA.
So what would we say? He's a 4A player?
Right, man, and he's got to prove he can play in the big league.
Absolutely.
He wouldn't be the first guy that came up here at, 34 years old. So he's been around.
Well, Brendan Donnelly, 10 years in the minor leagues. Ben Weber, 10 years in the minor leagues, came up and pitched in postseason play. So, I mean, if you can throw some strikes and you get a few people out, there's going to be a job for you now in 2010 in the major league somewhere.
Oh, he got a
nice,
good
nice
off-speed pitch.
Well, that's about as good as you could throw it.
Oh, yeah. We haven't seen that from him, and he's got a really nice, looks like a circle change, and he's dropped in there. But you saw the downward movement, and this is the thing you don't see with Tyler Clifford's. He throws you a straight change. That's a circle change where the bottom drops out. If you get that kind of movement on a changeup, throw it.
And the fastball was 95 earlier in the count.
You know, you're talking about guys that lingered. George Sherrill went through here.
Yeah, he was an independent ball guy. Yep.
So it took him even the longer route. Here's Tejada. Rips it down the line. Foul. 3 outs away from a win. The closer, Alfredo Simon, getting loose. The Nationals in the 9th have Desmond Morgan and Guzman due up. Only 2 players left on the bench.
Well, we know when Alfredo comes in, he may get the job done, but it will get the pulse going.
Look at the ball.
Yeah, that sidearm, a little drop down.
Well, the one thing he should have learned over these years with experience is to change speeds, and he takes a lot off of that changeup, drops down from the side to give it a little bit different angle to the hitter that hasn't probably seen him too much.
Yeah, Tejada's saying, what does he have against me? Come on.
Throw that 95.
We're both from the Dominican Republic. Come on. I'm your countryman. And then
there's the 95.
And just missed away.
Well, 301 games in the minor leagues and 7 different seasons in AAA ball. There's a guy who doesn't want to give up. 1-2 on Tejada, 2 outs and none on. Defensive swing, gets a piece. So the Orioles trying to come back for a second consecutive day. Most comeback wins trailing 3 or more on the year. So the Orioles, Jim Palmer, have actually fared well in this area. They're also 5-2 in extra innings.
Well, now there's a lot of reason you have to come back too. I mean, we don't want to
get into that, but
I mean, you know what I'm saying.
You're right. That means you're trailing a lot.
You're trailing, or you can have a great offense and you get down 1-0 or whatever. But
that ball's pulled down the left field line, and just foul.
Well, yesterday you were down 6-0 by the 5th inning. Today you were down 5-0 by the
Thursday
5th inning.
3-0.
Yeah, so you don't want to make a habit of that.
Well, yeah, because your bullpen's going to be exhausted in about a week. Pretty quick bat by Miguel Tejada right there. I mean, then he was all over that fastball.
Well, the last 6 games, including today, the starters have allowed 6, 6, 6, 4, 6, and 5 runs. That's a lot.
Well, that's where the ERA is up over 5 runs a game.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. That ball pulled towards the hole, and he finally gets the base hit. He had 2 bullets foul and serves it between Zimmerman and Desmond for a 2-out single. Tejada has a 3-hit game.
Well, there you learn very quickly. I don't care how well you throw. If you don't, keep the ball out of the middle of the plate. Whether you throw 95, that was a changeup, it looked like.
Slow curve.
Yeah, I mean, this ball is just whacked to left. And that is the difference. Boy, you talk to a lot of the pitchers that come up, they go, boy, they don't chase as much. Not that some teams don't chase more than others in the big leagues, but, you know, strike one in the minor leagues can be ball one here, and then you get into those hitters' counts.
Minor leagues, his stuff translates to getting guys out because they miss mistakes. Major league level, they don't miss mistakes. You leave a ball up and in the hitting zone, they're going to rip it somewhere.
Nick Markakis takes a strike at the knees. Nick had a big hit in the 5th inning rally. He had the 4th of the 4 consecutive base hits, and his RBI single got in a run.
Well, they got a great hitting count. And Bob was doing the game then, and we're talking about how Nick has to try to speed up the bat a little bit, 2-0, cheat a little bit, and he ripped the ball into right field. Got a great pitch to hit off of Levon Hernandez. You know, I would imagine that when we look at Nick, he's comfortable because he's having a good year. Certainly would like to drive in more runs, like to hit more home runs. But again, he's so good at hitting the ball the other way, he's comfortable doing that. But occasionally, and I think he will certainly learn this, and we saw it with all the guys that started hitting home runs. You look for pitches when you get into the hitters' counts, and that's when you start hitting those home runs.
You got to get him more comfortable against right-handers.
There's that changeup again, and a good one.
Well, you see him really pull off the right-handed changeup. He doesn't do that against left-handers. And you're hitting 380 off lefties and 270 off righties. There's a reason for that right there. Opening up and flying towards first base. You would think he'd be almost as comfortable against righties as lefties.
I mean, most righties you see the ball better because
you've seen a lot more of them too in your life.
1-2 on Markakis. Tejada, small lead off first. 2 down in the Oriole 8th. And it's a little low, 2-2. I'm not sure if you know of Markakis' amateur background, but he was as valued as a pitching prospect coming into professional baseball as he was a hitting prospect. And actually, your former team, Cincinnati, drafted him twice as a pitcher, and each time he didn't sign. Once out of high school, once out of junior college, and then the Orioles got him out of junior college and immediately told him, you're an outfielder. There's a line drive and another base hit for Tejada. So how about this battle between Markakis and Tejada? Tejada now has 27 multi-hit games. So does Markakis. He just tied him on that. 2 hits today as Tejada has 3.
Well, again, another curveball that ends up in the middle of the plate. Maybe you're not seeing very well, but he certainly sees this one. I mean, this is sizzled into center field.
Well, and there's a reason why the guy keeps going down to the minor leagues. He's looking like he's very hittable. He's got good stuff, like I said, above average fastball. But all the off-speed stuff he's throwing up there is just getting whacked around. And
with the exception of the changeup. And, you know, it's another guy we were talking about last night, audition. The guy's late or takes your 91, 95-mile-per-hour fastball, throw another one.
Yeah, I mean, you know, stop trying to nibble with the fastball and just pound it right in there. And see, take your chances first. You're only going to face Markakis once. You're going to face Tejada once. And, you know, you don't want to immediately start throwing off-speed stuff because what are you backing up off, you know, if you don't throw a bunch of 95 in there?
I mean, you don't see a changeup that has that kind of late action. It's an awfully good pitch to a guy that has trouble hitting off-speed pitches. I mean, everybody.
But see, now if you back it up with 95 and you throw this even down the middle, he shouldn't have a shot at it. But you have to be confident enough to know if I throw it right here, he's not going to hit it.
2 on and 2 out, 0-1 on Luke Scott. And he fouls it back. And Jim, at the luncheon today, when you were interviewing your former pitching colleagues, I thought the most fascinating answer was out of Fred Bean when you complimented him on his command. And he said, well, pitching is common sense. It's control, location, in and out, observe and watch the game. And that's exactly what you were just talking about. Peralta didn't watch Markakis' bat, gave him a pitch that he preferred, and he got a base hit.
Yeah, Freddie Bean was not overpowering, but he was a terrific athlete. He, pitched a long time in the big leagues because he understood how to pitch.
Read the bat. They'll tell you.
Well, and read the count. 0-2 with 2 outs. You don't worry about the guy in second base. Get the guy in front.
That's what I thought. Well, again, that and a lot of the teammates today just talked about game awareness.
Yeah,
there's a complete lack of it there. I hate to be so critical, but all you got to do is get Luke Scott out.
We call games every night. We're seeing every team does the same thing. They make the same mistakes over and over and over, and they're common sense baseball stuff.
Well, see, this is where, as we're looking at Juan Samuel, my hope, I've already seen it, and Riggleman, obviously also a former player, they're going to talk about the game. And to me, and Rick, I see Juan a lot more, but Juan's relaxed. He's going to make these guys understand how to play the game, not just wins and losses, but understand why you do the things you do.
Well, and why, when you get in a situation to put a game away, blow open a game, win a ball game, what it takes to do that. And that's why we always talk about, why do you get veteran players, especially once? Well, this year Mike Rizzo went out, and even Chen-Ming Wong, who'll be joining the team shortly. Jason Marquis was brought in. They'll have world championship rings. Last year we had one guy that had been in a world championship. That was Willie Harris. Now we have 7 in the organization. 2 are on the disabled list. There's 5 in that locker room. So it's a question of guys that won't make mistakes when they're pressed, and that seems to be the problem lately with the Nationals. When they have a chance to win a ball game, they're not making plays. They're not executing.
1-2, he got him. So Luke Scott goes down on strikes. It's a 5-batter inning, 2 hits and 2 left. 9th inning coming up. 6-5 O's. Kazashi Sport Sedan. Nice view of the warehouse. There's the Bambino, right near the entrance to Utah Street on this beautiful day, this Saturday afternoon, June the 26th. Good crowd on hand, 28,635. And the Orioles are 3 outs away from winning a 3rd consecutive game for only the 3rd time this year.
But it's a big 3 outs, toughest save that you can get. There you go, 2-1, 7 out of 8. Again, they've all, in the numbers, more hits than innings pitched. So that's what, 30 batters reached in 17 innings pitched. That's why it hasn't been comfortable. So again, not a lot of room here. In fact, the least amount of room you can have is closer. And again, it's gone out about bad stuff because he's got good stuff. But, Tommy John, 14 months ago, Tommy John surgery. So
that's pretty good that he's out there.
Yeah, it really is. And again, we've seen it over the course of these two games when the chin and the shoulder goes to the catcher, the stuff's down. It's good enough to get hitters out, and when it doesn't, struggles with his command.
Ian Desmond, the number 9 batter, is up.
Well, he started it back in the third when Brad Bergeson walked him. He had come in at 0 for 17 with 7 strikeouts. And he's trying to get on here.
A little late and fouls it back.
And they play him that way. Again, Markakis with the tough sun field here at this hour. This is a game time of when they usually start the night games here.
Misses across the plate, 2-1. Simone was the winning pitcher in last night's game. He worked the 9th inning. He allowed 2 hits, including a leadoff infield single by Ryan Zimmerman, but then worked out of it. And then the Orioles got the run in the bottom of the 9th. Center field, Adam Jones, nearly right at him. And one away in the 9th inning. Here's an update on the voting for the AT&T Player of the Game. It's still time to cast your vote. And Matt Wieters with a big vote. 65% of support. Jones 25%. Adam Dunn 10%. Still time. Text in A, B, or C to 51862. And the results will be coming up on O's Extra Postgame. Tom and Rick. So the bullpen today is being asked to pitch 5 innings, so 15 outs, and as of yet have not allowed a run.
Yeah, and the problem, all the infielders are in. Tejada's in to take the bunt away, but last night, on his way to 4 hits, he hit a double that almost got out of here in left center field, so you can't cheat in the outfield.
Well, and for the Nationals, it's gut check time in that locker room. Somebody's got to step up on the team and say something after this ball game if they lose. Because you got to stop losing these games that you're up 6-0, 5-0, and it's not just because it's Baltimore. Anybody, these are games you need to win if you're going to even think about going to the postseason. Not just this year, anytime.
Well, I think the dilemma, and we hear it all the time, is managers will say, "Listen, we still respect everybody because you have to win. You have to give more runs than they do." And he said it's really not who we play, it's how we play. So this game's not over because they still have 2 outs. But if they don't win this game, they got to be disappointed. And they got to be disappointed because, again, whether it's the wild pitch or the leadoff walks or the fact last night they made 4 errors, they're not winning games that they could be winning. And, of course, we've seen this all year long.
Well, they keep giving away games to sub-500 teams, but now you're going to play Atlanta, San Diego, and San Francisco right before the All-Star break.
0-2 on Morgan, and he got him. Another splitter. And when you get ahead, that is a very effective pitch. 2 men down.
Well, that's the way you're supposed to execute your pitches. It's twilight. They don't see the ball very well. You get ahead. You throw something underneath the strike zone. That's the perfect 2-strike pitch. Because anybody that watched the game last night, it goes back to what you were talking about, Jim. You know that Morgan can hit the fastball. And now, of course, the one thing you don't want to have happen is Gruzman get on, because the guy behind you easily could take you out of the yard.
Gets ahead of him 0-1. His last save was last Saturday, Alfredo Simon, in San Diego. That was the Kevin Millwood win. And he's trying to pick up another one here today. And he gets ahead 0-1.
Because he's got plenty of good enough stuff to close at the big league level. He's got 2 above average pitches with the 2-seamer and the splitter as his manager looks on. Juan Samuel. Sliders iffy a little bit because it speeds up the bat every once in a while.
Ground ball to second. Lou goes there in between hop. Gets it to first, and the Orioles for a second consecutive day have a come from behind win against the Nats. They're assured of a series.